It is 6 o'clock. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer. The Tennessee Volunteers advanced to the NCAA Super Regionals in baseball with a 9-6 win over Georgia Tech at Lindsey Nelson Stadium. The Vols scored 6 runs in the top of the 9th inning, then held off Georgia Tech's rally in the bottom of the inning to advance to the Super Regionals for the second consecutive season. Tennessee will host Notre Dame in the next round. VandyBoys defeated Oregon State 8-1 last night, and they have forced a winner-take-all game against the Beavers today at 3 o'clock in Corvallis. To the NBA Finals, Golden State defeated Boston 107-88. That series is now tied at 1 game apiece. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
What's happening? Welcome in. Man, I'm thankful to be back on this program.
Speak your piece, Jason.
No.
Everything's all right.
It's hard out here in these streets sometimes. Ramon Foster, Jonathan Schaefer, I'm Jason Martin. It is Jay Martin Ramon, beginning a new week.
Hey.
I'm with the violence.
Man, Jason came in hot this morning, dog. Everything's all right.
I don't know what to say, man. Brian Rice next hour. Michael Bohlin, NBA with CBS. He'll join us. Kayla Anderson will join us today as well. So we're loaded with guests starting next hour. Vols and Vanderbilt still alive. Vandy
went
if
off.
they win today, advances out of that regional.
Yeah.
Yeah, they went off.
They went off this weekend, man. Like, goodness. Okay. I understand, Tim.
It's like you're not going down without a fight, are you? We don't have the pitching, doesn't matter. We do have the bats.
We got the bats, man. Tim said we are who you thought we were.
Yeah.
Now give it up.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, dang. I was sitting at the ballpark and those scores was coming through like, oh, okay, well, they still got it in them. I wonder what was the switch. Not necessarily the switch, but the bats got high. So, like, go to your strengths.
That's going to help you a lot.
Go to your strengths.
Kumar Rocker actually pitched.
Oh, I thought you were talking about for Vandy.
Triple A. No, Triple A.
Okay.
I think he gave up 2 runs, no walks in 6 innings. I think that's what I heard.
Okay, good for him.
It was good to see that because obviously how that went after the draft and everything.
Yeah. You think it was the Mets thing or you think it was the didn't want to disclose
I want to say
health?
it was the Mets thing because I hate the Mets. I'd love for it to be a Mets thing, quite frankly.
Guess I got to go burn my Daryl Strawberry jersey.
I love Daryl.
It's got a rip in it, though. I mean, it's about time.
You wore it like last week, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
I
got some more jerseys.
Stop.
I ended up getting an Aaron Judge, Ohtani, Yohei Ohtani, and I got an Acuna Jr. You'd be proud of that.
No, it's good. It's good.
That discount.
I know. I'm gonna hit you up.
Free.
I got a daughter.
Free
she's
overnight.
taking a lot of my income. She's taking a lot of my income.
I said I wasn't going to allow you to dog CG on air like this anymore. But
well, it's not her fault other than we have to feed, clothe, entertain.
I think he just said a fact is all he said.
Yeah, it was literally just a fact.
I don't think he was really dogging the kid.
I know, but of course, the moment that we had is
I'm glad that you had that moment.
It was awesome, man. And you said my moment where it was better than Schaefer's when he came to the house, right? Is that what you said?
Oh, I don't care. Are you trying to turn this into something?
I mean, the way Jason
like the baseball
came
team,
in today,
you're bat flipping right now.
I'm about to go Saturday night.
I'm
going Saturday night.
Not getting into it.
Yes,
I
you
would
are.
just say that by the 4th hour of that show Saturday night, I was playing Zelda on the big screen with the headset mic on, hosting that show because I was so frustrated with the content that was coming out of my partner's mouth. I was just like, nope, I got to farm some rupees. or I'm gonna murder somebody.
You were cooked, is what you were saying.
Oh, I was done.
That's the Agent Bronner. I'm getting cooked.
I was done. I'm still done. Take me off the grill.
It's all good.
Vols
man.
win last night, came back in the ninth, which is what they do.
Crazy.
What they have to. The thing about them, it's just hard to deny this. The entire time I thought they were going to win the game, and the reason why is just because you have to continually go through that lineup. Like, they were actually hitting the pitching pretty well. Campbell hit the pitching pretty well. Mm-hmm. And last night, Georgia Tech, who impressive to play 2 games in one day.
Pitcher, Zach Maxwell, I think was his name.
And he's somebody that has control issues and all this stuff throughout his career. Did you see his glove?
No, I didn't even pay attention to his glove.
His glove has stitched into it BAMF.
BAMF. Oh. Well, I'll tell you this. The look on his face the entire time he threw 116 pitches or whatever, 113. Golly.
Brian Rice called him a cactus head.
Well, I mean, he just kind of, it's not really, he has no neck, but he doesn't have any, like his head's
but
like
he's,
he's just
arms a
big
little.
time.
He said if Jeremy Pruitt and a cactus procreated, it'd be that kid.
All right, well, Brian Rice will join us next hour.
Why do we do this with Brian?
I don't know.
No, we didn't do anything.
Brian
he
did
that.
I know, but
this is why he's that neighbor in that neighborhood has problems all the time.
I'm starting. At first, I was vouching for B. Rice, and now I'm like, Brian, like it might be you. And I felt like you asked him that last time he was on, right? Like, is it you, Brian? Like, really? And he really wouldn't admit it. But some of his antics are like, dude, the HOA. They're holding you accountable. They don't hate you.
You don't go to the meetings because they don't tell you when they are.
Hey,
because
be
they're
honest.
gripe sessions about the Rices down the street.
Wouldn't you act out if you worked with EA every day?
Dude, he's another one. Like, he'd be playing
Okay.
Zelda. He'd be me playing Zelda.
At all times throughout his life.
Man, if I wasn't snowballing and farming rupees, I wouldn't be here today. I'd be in jail.
What are rupees?
It's the currency in Zelda.
Okay. All right. I was about to say, what's going on here?
And people that are like, you were doing that? Like, if you heard some of the takes, you didn't needed something. This was definitely a Steve Urkel, Carl Winslow 3-2-1 situation.
He was
That's
just
all I'm gonna say.
Throwing the old school splat against the wall, saying what you was gonna pick up on is what was happening.
Such a nice guy, but oh my Lord.
It's usually that usually is the most polarized. Such a nice guy.
That's what they say about the Vols.
They were saying that last night.
That's what they could, like ESPN, like bending over backwards now after what happened with Evan Russell. What are you guys doing, man?
I hate to go at guys like that, and I didn't tweet about it. I was just like, good on ESPN for apologizing on air, and those reporters too. But I think one of them a former Arkansas player too. That kind of apparently the rumor came from that base online, and they just ran with it. But it's to our point that we've made before. I know I've heard Shafe say this. I know I've heard you beat on the table for this too. Everybody at every network is so fast.
Yeah, they want to be first instead of be right.
They want to be what again, Jay?
They want to be first instead of right.
And reporting news ain't like Ricky Bobby.
No, shouldn't be.
It's not like Ricky Bobby, man. And it ain't just a Tennessee thing. It happens in other things too. Schefter fell on his face this offseason. You know, it's a bunch of guys, and of course we'll talk about just all of the experts in general, but everybody's so quick to jump the line when it comes to reporting news. And you know what when it gets crazy, I call it the internet, not the internet. The internet is always trying to find a sucker. You know what I'm saying? As far as a false report. And that's what happened this past week. They said it on air and kind of like doubled down with it to be like, yeah, he was on steroids or PED. I was just like, God, dog it. And
they got out of his system quick because he played yesterday.
It did. It got out of his system
That's just
quick.
a bad look. Like, and there's no reason to even try to be first right there. It's just make sure your ducks are in a row before you talk about anybody in that situation, because that's slanderous.
It went from me hearing it was that on social media to be like, oh, it's a bad family problem. And then, of course, you thought it was like COVID testing, but nobody else around had reported.
Yeah, like what in the world?
I was just like, the speculation gets crazy. And I know the situation was right before the game started, and it seems like in an abrupt situation, but that was very iffy right there, Jack.
Yeah, it was just, look, it was unfortunate, but they were bending over backwards the last 2 days to talk about what great guys the Tennessee players are after they were doing some of their things. That was unbelievable. Whether it was the one finger salute or even the bat flip that Drew Gilbert gave on Saturday.
What was that, Friday? Or was Saturday?
That was the most disrespectful bat flip I've ever seen in my life. I was just like, I'd probably plunk the next batter.
And
which
what
is what
happened?
happened, but it was on a breaking ball as opposed to an obvious fastball. Like
I
I heard
know.
with I was just like, I'd have hit somebody because that right there would have made me want to fight.
And baseball's got a lot of those unwritten rules too. You're like, you can get away with that. It was an 86 miles per hour like breaking ball, wasn't it?
Yeah,
like
and it was
shoulder.
late in the game, and of course he had pitched the day before to get him in the spot.
Yeah,
so he's beat.
He was done. But the backflip, the slow walk.
It was a slow walk, and then eyed the pitcher, and then flipped it in his face. It's like, okay, all right. I mean, look, when you're number one, you're going to have your opportunities to do that.
Yeah.
But what I was saying about the game last night is just watching it. I never sensed Georgia Tech would be able to hold on because every batter came up wearing a Tennessee uniform. Like, God, here's Luke. God, here's Drew.
Yeah.
Here comes Jordan Beck.
Here's come Trey.
Here's Seth Stevenson, even off the top of the lineup. Like, if Cortland Lawson is your 8 hitter, Cortland Lawson would be like 3, 4, 5 hitter on 95% of the teams in the country. He's 8th, and he's still handling business for you.
It's like the bottom of the lineup's supposed to be, okay, let's just get back to the top. No. Getting to the bottom is a problem, too. And they proved it last night and over the weekend. Those guys were the jump starts of some of the rallies that they ended up having throughout the weekend. And it was necessary. I got to give it to them. The pitching that they saw this weekend, Campbell.
Yeah, that kid pitched really well.
He was daggone good, too. And just yesterday, watching the Maxwell kid.
Zach Maxwell showed up, and he was suffering no fools in that game.
Can I say how impressed I was with him? Just overall, just one – his stature, number one. I'm a big guy, and watching a big guy do work like that, I was like, but he was like medium big. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like well done. He was medium well to where it was just like, dude got a little husk going on there. You know?
Yeah.
He had a little husky
So
going
you're
on
saying he
there.
wasn't floppy bacon?
He wasn't floppy. Nah, he wasn't floppy. He had the neck thing going on, but hey. They talked about me and my jersey. I'm sure. Can I not return the favor a little bit? He had a little size to him, man. But I've seen kids like that pitch before, just in general. Like, yeah, that kid got some push behind that ball, man.
Yeah, he was, and he has.
But
his face and his
it didn't.
It's a box. Like if robots told jokes. Their joke about robots as if they were humans in this discussion, that's what he would be.
Someone said he looked like Vincent D'Onofrio in Men in Black.
You get out of the room right now. This picture you sent of the pitcher is like, but he ain't big though.
Read it, Ramon. That's what Brian Rice said. What did Brian Rice say in the tweet, Ramon? Read it.
Yeah, read it, Ramon.
The Georgia Tech pitcher is the 38-year-old son of Jeremy Pruitt and a cactus. Prove me wrong. Jason said he looked like a robot's joke telling a version about
like
another
if a
robot.
robot was telling a joke about robots, whereas the robots were normal and they were talking about artificial intelligence, that's who they would be talking about. He looks like a refrigerator.
And by
in
the way,
face, he looks like a refrigerator.
That boy was dealing.
Yeah, he was stealing.
At over 100 pitches, he's still hitting like 98.
He had a Banff glove. You better.
But
I mean, he
gotta
looked like
do a
Bartolo
show.
Colon's illegitimate kid. He's so big.
He looked like a lineman that's fighting hard not to be a tight end, or a
Dude,
tight
he
end
is
fighting
no
hard not to
gloves.
be a
He
lineman.
has no gloves on the O-line.
He wears no gloves, sure. He got 5 plays during the game, and every single one of them is a TFL. I can't lie. I'm talking about him because how impressed I was
awesome.
of him.
It was a great performance.
He's a tight end that's fighting hard not to be an offensive lineman. That's me in high school, y'all.
I can't believe they didn't take him out like an inning before. Because I was like, he's out of it, guys. I know you don't have a bullpen at this point because you've pitched everybody to death to get into this spot, but you're going to kill this kid.
Well, it's because they had nobody.
That's what I'm saying. They did.
They did. I'm going to be real. That's me in high school right there, fighting hard not to be an offensive lineman.
I mean, he was sweating before he got to the mound.
That
hat was sticking to his head. All the dirt was on there.
Hey, everybody knows somebody like this. When you see him, you be like, man, that dude can't hoop. And you see him on the course like, that's Buckets McGee over there.
That's when you just leave halfway through, be like, man, My uterus is fractured. I gotta get out of the lineup.
I got this old elbow
Yeah.
problem.
We'll come back. We'll do more of these kinds of shenanigans. Also, the Warriors not up the NBA Finals and made it easy to go ahead and watch Hell in a Cell last night. I was flipped between Hell in a Cell and the baseball because the basketball was unnecessary. Just totally unnecessary.
Yeah.
And I love the Kraken Juniors. I got to say, those Navy Oilers joints with the orange,
Yeah.
those are some of the, I love those things, Shave.
Oh, really?
I love them, man. And I like their classics with the blue and orange and everything, but I love the way those look.
I prefer the classics, but that's fine.
I love them. 615-737-1045. We'll come back.
Yes. That's who he is.
Who?
Vincent, what's his
Vincent
name?
D'Onofrio.
Oh, he looks like Kingpin and Daredevil?
No. He looks like Vincent D'Onofrio in Men in Black.
Oh, and Men in Black. Okay.
Spot the lie.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's what I
He has a Banff glove.
I'm going to have to tweet out a picture of me in high school. I was wearing 85, and I was nothing but a lineman.
Okay. We'll be back. It's Jay Martin and Mo on 104.5 The Zone.
Bless your heart.
Hey, deliver professional mowing quality and comfort and style with the Toro Z-Master 2000 HDX. My Ride suspension system, deluxe seats with armrests, going to keep you comfortable hour after hour, even over rough terrain. The powerful engine, durable deck, upgraded hydros help you finish more jobs faster. You can mow bigger lawns in far less time with Toro zero-turn riding mowers with Pro DNA, giving you the same cut quality and reliability as commercial mowers for a professional-looking lawn. That My Ride suspension system is legit. You know where you should get it? Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply. Speaking of legit, with summer being here, trying to get your yard, your landscaping completely taken care of. And if you already have a Toro or anything else, you can get your mower serviced. Keep it running through the heat of the summer with Dickens. They carry everything you need to do it yourself, or you can bring it in and let their licensed and trained mechanics do the work for you. And they told me this last week. I actually didn't know it. They'll come and pick it up from you, take it to the shop, fix it, and bring it back to you if it's a situation where you can't get there. So that's just something else that they offer. They really are your one-stop shop. Quality parts, products, the best advice. 9 locations to serve you: Nashville, Cool Springs, Bellevue, Murfreesboro, Brentwood, Longmore, Hendersonville, Mount Juliet, Franklin, Knoxville. Coming soon to Maryville. Go where the pros go and where I go. Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply, or online at dickenssupply.com.
The payoff pitch. Called strike three. That's the ball game. And the curtain falls on the regional. The Yellow Jackets fight to the bitter end. But in the bottom of the ninth, it'll be 2 runs on 3 hits and 3 men left. A 6-run top of the ninth. Tennessee advances to the Super Regional by sweeping the field here in Knoxville.
As they should have and as they did. And today Vanderbilt tries to do something pretty impressive. I don't know if they will or not, but they certainly made it interesting, if nothing else. Last night, the Warriors knotted up the NBA Finals 107-88. Jordan Poole actually played a better game. Celtics gave it a run, but once they fell behind by 15, you just say, all right, they're moving to game 3. They already got the split.
Yeah.
There's no reason to overdo this. Jason Tatum woke back up, shot well early in the game.
Teammates couldn't contribute much at all after that, though.
No. Like I said, that's why I stuck with Warriors in 6, because these games just don't relate to one another.
They don't. And Draymond, I don't know if it was Golden State, him being at home or what, but his level of just extraness, his level of just trying to get a guy out of the game, it was kind of funny watching the game with my boys. And my youngest, he was like, Draymond's going to get a tech. And I was like,
He almost did.
He did.
He almost got the ejection tech.
Yeah,
I mean, the one on the ground.
He was just super. I know everybody needs a villain, need a bully, need somebody that's going to set the record straight when it comes down to your team and the tone that you're trying to set. But even I got to be like, Draymond, you go a bit far.
I can't with it,
I text
man.
Ron. I was like,
It's
dude,
so annoying.
anytime he's on the ground with somebody,
He's shoving or he's got something going on
Feet
with
on
his
top
hand.
of
Yeah,
him.
that's what he did to Jaylen Brown. He was trying to get Jaylen Brown.
Jaylen Brown almost cup checked him with his foot too, just to get real close. I was just like, dog.
He's annoying.
And
that's what his role is.
I know, and that's where I was talking about with my boys, because he had a few open shots. It's like, Draymond's not going to shoot the ball.
He
Like,
shoots like he wears a backpack, man.
he does. You said that, and I was like, yep, I can't unsee it. But his level of trolling out there, it seems like most of the time it takes away from what his team has got going on, too.
He's playing his own game.
He is.
It's like the Warriors, and then there's Draymond.
It's the Warriors and then Draymond. It's that whole Bowser, you know what I'm saying? Like, role that he's always playing. Like, dude, why'd you put the lava right here? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's Draymond just out of
Did you have to steal the princess again?
Again, yeah. Bowser? Is that what we're doing? You know you're
I'd
gonna
be
lose.
doing.
Yeah,
I'll be doing that this Saturday. No, this Saturday I'm actually off.
Okay, you're not gonna go down that road with old buddy. Let him.
You know what? You deserve a break.
Let him.
I'm glad Torres is back this week, even though I'm not going to be there for it. But good on him trying to sell Vols t-shirts.
Who?
Torres. He released a Vols shirt last night. It said the bad boys of baseball.
See, that's what.
And I was like, all right, Aaron.
That's what it does, right, man. God, bad boys of baseball. Probably in all of baseball sports, other than our guy, Tommy Pham.
Tommy Pham's the man. Because I'm not going to say anything else because I don't want to get Muay Thai out here.
He's Harvin Marison.
Oh, for sure.
He's Harvin Marison.
He is Pommy Tam.
The rate in which you just flipped that quickly like that, it was like that's
I wasn't even thinking
that.
What that is.
I wasn't even thinking that one to flip his name like that.
But you have to.
Because you don't want your ankle snapped.
I'm certainly not going to. I'm going to keep it out my mouth past that. Yeah. By the way, let's see here. 1, 2. A week from yesterday, it would be Sunday, June the 19th. 2 weeks from now, or 2 weeks from yesterday, would be Game 7. That's how long these games are between each other in the NBA.
Father's Day, by the way, too.
It is Father's Day, yes.
Yeah, I was wondering were you going to mention that since.
I think that would be the day of the U.S. Open final, potentially
really?
also.
We don't need to mention it. Ron's doing a great job doing that without it.
But they're literally there are 2 days between every game in this series. It takes forever to play the NBA Finals.
Got to milk that money as much as they can, Jay. Got to get as much TV money as they possibly can. But yeah, is hockey still going on too? I hate to even ask that. It is. Mm-hmm. That's bad. I gotta click that on. The Preds not in it. Penguins not in it.
Yeah, I mean, the Kraken are not in it. The Penguins are not in it.
See him throw your sister team. You see him throw his sister team in there real quick.
The Penguins lost in Game 7. I was like, all right, man, y'all have fun.
Yeah.
I got to go.
But they're getting ESPN games. I wonder if their ratings are up.
Yeah, they
because
are
of
up.
that.
The ratings are up. They're not like, I mean, they're up fairly substantially for hockey, which means that they're right there with, like, I don't know, whatever the Food Network is running at 9 p.m.
Chopped
World
Series of Poker started, man. They moved it this year.
Yeah, as the world turns.
That's right. That's right. Mike in Nashville. Mike, what's up?
So, Mike.
What's up, fellas?
Not much. Good morning.
Talk about Draymond Green.
Yep.
Man, he just trying to start a fight. I don't know what's wrong with these referees. They won't call a tech on him. They'll call one, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
They get away with everything.
He does.
Well, he realizes they don't want to eject him in the NBA Finals because of what it means to his team to do that. So they got right to the line because even Van Gundy talked about it last night. Should he have been ejected for that little shove of Jalen on the ground? Probably. It would have been a double technical.
Probably.
But because it was the second one, it would have been an ejection. They found a way around it in the circumstance. So then that tells Draymond, oh, I can push this a little bit further than usual. And then that's what you saw from that point on.
Had a situation with a guy in a plane with felt like a few like drug tests and stuff like that. But he was actually getting to a position where his like stardom was growing. It was a few, like couple guys I've seen go through this, and you like they understand, to your point, Jay, about, oh, y'all need me out here. And so because of those reasons, man, guys just push the line a little bit more.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is, do you blame the player or do you blame the league and the officials when it comes down to that type of stuff? You know what I'm saying? Like, the rules are the rules.
The officials letting it go is just going to encourage it.
Or even a league, like the idea that you need the stars a little bit more than you need this bad press.
Well,
as far as Draymond being kicked out.
I do think it needs to be egregious to kick it out, but I also think after that, be like, dude, you should be out of here. Yeah. Watch yourself. Like, don't take advantage of what we're doing here.
Yeah.
Like, I would have that conversation with him on the floor if I had to. Be like, we see what you're doing.
Yeah.
Cut it out.
Yeah. But Draymond knows now. He know that he can get away with it. Like I said, this one particular situation, like that, from my understanding, there was a conversation with the league that was like, we can't afford not to have him out there. Like, imagine that being the case. So I had somebody ask me yesterday, actually, at a baseball park. You know, when guys get a lot of money and the ego comes into it, it was like, what actually does it for them? I was like, you got to understand, it's what you're allowed. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're allowed to do certain things because of who you've become as a player. The person that they allow you to be is, I think it kind of goes on both sides of it a little bit.
All right, so let's take that point and extrapolate it locally a little bit here, and then we'll get to Chris's call. Hang on, Chris. We'll talk on the cell. The Vols.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. If those dudes weren't good, this stuff would be 1,000 times worse, and it wouldn't be allowed. Like, it's not. I don't think Vitello's letting them do this if they win 25 games.
Yeah.
Because the fans would be like, y'all are a bunch of.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be funny anymore. But because they're number one and because they are good and potentially historically good in terms of how they bat, how they pitch, how they everything that they've done, they created this window where they have and they kept saying on ESPN all weekend, a longer leash. Vitello gives them a longer leash. And you can get away with that leash because you're good enough to where it's just like, it doesn't get exposed the same way as if you're losing. Because if you're losing, nobody wants to hear you talk. Nobody wants to hear you do anything. Nobody cares at all. It's just, why don't you screw off and go win a game?
Yeah. So as far as that go, you're right. ESPN kind of mentioned a little bit last night about the villain role and how I heard them, stroking the canvas as, hey, they make good grades. They're great guys off the field.
Did it 2 days in a row.
Yeah, they're great guys off the field. They play the game this way because, to your point, they're winning. Would you be aggravated or agitated if the Vols weren't your team? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you would be.
Be furious.
100% you'd be a little chapped. If this was Vandy doing this, Tennessee fans, you wouldn't hear the end of us.
And if it happened to Tennessee.
Oh, yeah.
Let's say it's Florida.
Yeah.
And it's happening to you and they're behaving with some of the histrionics and some of the things that we've seen just over this past few days. If now's been the time you've checked in with college baseball this season, you would be irate.
100%. Man, let's go back a little bit. Look at Urban Meyer and the Gators. The stuff that you heard about them doing and the fact that they were still able to play on the field on game days, I know our fan base, even some of our team, was like, how the heck is he still playing in this game? He was just arrested like earlier this week.
Right.
So it's the idea, and I think is this. When it comes down to winning and the networks and the ticket sales and the views and everything else that goes around it, they gotta, I ain't gonna say they have to allow Tennessee to do this type of stuff, but it's a good part of their bottom line when it comes to the dollar amount of it. If I wasn't a Vol fan, I'd probably be like, dude, somebody please beat these guys fast and in a hurry.
But you'd watch it. That's the thing is you would pay money to see that happen, and that's why it has value. Like, it's good for the Vols fans, but everybody else can't wait to see them get beat. So whenever they're playing, I'm going to tune in for that reason. That's something college baseball I'm not sure has ever had.
Not like this. The one person here in the city that agitates fan bases, who is he? The Whistler.
Oh, right, VandyBoys.
You hate that guy, and I'm not attacking that guy, but fan bases dislike that guy a lot. Why is he allowed to do that at games? Because Vandy wins. They have the tradition of doing it, and as agitated as you get, he is protected by that Vanderbilt community, although some of them dislike that too. But in general, he's allowed to do that because they've set a bar as of lately that they're a really good program. So because of that, it goes along with it. ESPN has covered it. He's been covered here locally. We've talked about him and everything else. But when you get an opportunity to beat them the way they got beat in the SEC tournament this year, you pile on to him. I think it was the Arkansas fan that went up to him and told him, dude, shut up, and all this type of stuff.
Well, that's the hook 'em stuff.
Well,
if Texas loses, you're getting this.
You can get the hooks now.
You're getting this.
But the way Tennessee Vols baseball team is operating, you can't deny that they're good.
No, Lord, no.
Who's denied they're good?
Nobody has, but that's why all of this is being allowed, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's right.
Heavy,
because you have to win, and not just win, but win big.
You got to win big.
If they lose, boy, it's going to be a celebration.
Oh, no doubt about it.
For sure, because you've created that in the spot. You're Ric Flair at this point in time when you finally lose the title.
Yep. Everybody's rejoicing.
Yeah.
Everybody's rejoicing. And I think, can I say that's fueling them? I don't know if it is. I don't know if they're just that good. Because
they are that good.
Yesterday, and you said it earlier, like you knew it was a matter of time that the pendulum was going to swing as far as the runs when.
Because you had to keep going through that lineup.
Had to keep.
And every time I saw one of them come up again, it's just like, well, dude, Georgia Tech, you just don't have enough.
And then when you get to Georgia Tech and Tennessee pitching, and Tech could hit.
Yeah, they did all right. Yeah.
But then Tennessee started switching pitcher after pitcher and switching up the way lefty and then righty. You know what I'm saying?
When they brought the kid Walsh in that just gets you to a 4-3 ground out.
Yeah.
Like did it 5 times in a row. It's like, that's just frustrating. That kid looks like he's no older than 7.
When Georgia Tech couldn't score 2 runners in scoring position in the bottom of the 8th inning, I went, because Tennessee's going to find a way to win this game.
When I think they had 2. They had a runner on second and a runner on third, and they hit the high sacrifice fly out.
It was shallow though.
It was shallow, but even still, I heard the commentator say I'd have still chanced it by sending them.
You couldn't have run him.
You couldn't have run him. You don't think?
I don't care how fast that kid is. He was dead to rights.
He was dead.
And that call, not sending him, was influenced by them having a runner go around and try to score on an error at second base where that kid should not have gone.
Yeah. Yep.
So that play, I'm convinced, influenced not going in the bottom of the 8th inning.
Yep. And for the last 2 games, was it Saturday and Sunday, they're down multiple scores. And then G-Tech ended up hitting a home run to put them up 4.
Yeah, it was 2-0 for a while, and then you had the 2-run home run that made it 4-0, and they held on to that lead for a couple of innings.
So that they could operate. But getting back to the original question, Jay, would I hate them if they weren't Vols? Yeah.
Yeah, you despise them.
I despise them.
Yeah.
But do you also look at it and say, I can despise them, but also want to see it too? You know what I'm saying? Like, I kind of want to see it to be like, okay, well, how good are they? And I think that's what a lot of people are getting into is like, well, how good are they? Let me tune in and see. And then you see some of the stuff they're doing. I saw the bird.
Yeah.
Saw the bird that was flipped. The back flip.
The bat flip from Drew Gilbert's where I was just like, man, I want to see somebody take a bat to that kid for that. Like when they hit the next batter, I was just like,
it wasn't for him.
Yeah, that was Bush League stuff right there. Like I get it. I know what you're doing. I know you're going to be your borderline first round draft pick now. Like I get it, Drew. Like you're feeling it and you're in front of your crowd and everything else. But it's just like that was.
Yeah. So
Hard.
the other part of it is with Drew Gilbert. If you walk him, there's a guy behind him that can hit too. So as far
Yes.
as picking your poison when you say, all right, beam him, let him have it. But then you got a guy behind him that did the same exact thing. What was it, on Saturday night or Friday night when they played? It's like, well, if you hit him and put him on base, the next thing you know, there's going to be a score behind him. So it's really dislike them, hope they lose, but you better be really good and have long enough stamina, I guess, to really be able to beat.
You got to beat them you got to play 9 innings. You've got to outlast them for 9 innings. That's why 7 teams is all we've seen do it this year.
And that kid, and I knew it last night, Maxwell, that was pitching for Georgia Tech. You said the only reason he's pitching this much
because it's nobody else.
Because it's nobody else.
And you knew it too. You did. You knew it. We'll take Chris on the other side.
My bad.
Hang on. We'll do the Hell in the Cell to end the hour. 615-737-1045. Your thoughts on the games? Wherever you want to take it. 737-1045. It's Jay Martin, Mel 1045 The Zone.
Spring weather in the South can get a little complicated. One day it can be warm or even hot, and you need a little bit of AC to make your house just all right. But at night it can get chilly, and you need to turn on the heat to keep your spouse and the kids warm and comfortable. It's Ramon Foster. I have the heating and cooling company that can take care of all of your HVAC needs, and it is Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. They have over 20 years of experience serving all of southern Middle Tennessee. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling is a family-owned and operated company that prides itself for outstanding customer service. They offer cost-effective solutions such as a free service call for a repair and free estimates on replacement systems. They back their work with 10-year parts and labor warranties and up to 72 months of no interest on new installs. So be ready for this spring or the hot summers or anything that may come your way by getting the best indoor air quality thanks to Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. They have 2 locations to serve you, Columbia and Lyles, and available anytime at springhillac.com. Go talk to the folks that I know at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling.
J. Martin Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Welcome back. All 4 seasons Garage Doors making it possible. Apparently I said J. Martin Moan earlier, so all right.
That was good.
That ain't bad.
J. and Moan.
J and Moan.
Jamone.
Rebrand the show. J and Moan. Shamon.
Brian Rice from Knoxville will join us the next hour from the sports animal. The man who was making fun of Zach Maxwell's head.
Yeah.
Called him cactus.
Yeah.
But didn't people say Brian Rice looks like a thumb?
That has happened.
No.
That's happened.
I missed
right.
that. I love it when guys in the put your thumb down. Put a smiley face on it.
He's a thumb in a necktie or a quarter zip.
That's a quarter zip.
Stop it.
Stop, Jay. Are you gonna tell me to stop it when you said it
I'm
and
saying quarter
introduced
zip.
it?
I'm not saying a quarter zip.
What's wild?
Much like the Vols baseball team, you made it weird. Tom.
Yeah.
You made it weird. I did, of course. It's always funny when people who are in the media start getting jokes thrown back at them and stuff. Like players that say some of fans, like you tag somebody that they really love as a fan base, they will come back at you. A few reporters in Pittsburgh caught some slander like that. Just jokes. It wasn't anything crazy. You're in that world.
Sports is sports. That's right.
It is, man.
Did you see that if you're going to the Canadian Open, there's these seats that are 100 feet above the course that you're on a crane. It's almost like a pedal tavern. They have like full bar service and stuff, and you sit like way above like you're on a ski lift and watch this golf tournament.
Who is looking for that type of entertainment or seat at a golfing?
Well,
golf
you get to
outing?
see a lot more.
How many holes are you actually getting to watch?
I think the crane can move.
It's going to move with you?
I think so.
Oh, my gosh. Canada actually jumping out and doing something not so safe.
I want to know how expensive it is because the article I have isn't there. But, like, here's what you get. Patrons have the opportunity to secure Skyline seats by doing blah, blah, blah. It hosts 22 people harnessed into their seats. All right, so apparently it's a 30-minute deal with additional time allotted for embarking and disembarking, food and beverage included in the experience. I bet these are pricey.
Yes, gotta be.
I thought you got to watch the whole tournament there. You don't get to watch a half hour. I guess so they can get 22 more people's money and keep rotating.
Keep rotating. So what are you doing up? Going up there, going up super high and getting super trashed? Is that what you're doing?
Pretty much.
Pretty much is what they're doing. Look at Canada, man. That sounds like something that would happen in Knoxville or Nashville.
I'll put the photo in the Slack.
Yeah, please put that in there.
Don't give Danny White any ideas, Remote.
This flight deck. Can I be serious about that? That's going in at UT that they're renovating the stadium with. I am a little nervous about the flight deck at Neyland this fall, simply because you got alcohol on campus now. I think it's the Budweiser flight deck also, and we're talking about Knoxville with football and fans. How many fights this year, Jay? Over under 5?
Don't forget those mustard bottles.
Please.
What's in the
don't forget
mustard
that.
bottles?
Well, I've seen people have
I'm sure you have.
crazy stuff walking in the stadiums.
So I teased it so we can talk about it now. Chris didn't hang on, but Hell in a Cell last night. I didn't watch all of it. I was flipping between multiple things, including dog diving championships.
I saw that too. You were watching that too?
Of course I was watching that.
You know, I saw
That was
a
better than a
Rottweiler.
lot of other stuff I saw. Yeah, there was a Roddy
It was
out there.
a Roddy. I was thinking to myself, Zeus, this could be you. Nah.
There was a Great Dane that did a 26-foot.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
A great. That type of stuff gets me
The
going.
way they were just, first off, I don't know how you get this assignment, but I want Will Bohlin to end up here. This is paying your dues kind of material. Yeah, this is paying your dues kind of material here. But they were calling these dogs athletes. And they were talking about like their mindset going into this. I'm like, their mindset is you let them go and they go for the toy.
Don't you hate when they overdo
Like
it?
it was hilarious. Calling them an athlete. That's what I thought the whole time. Every time like a dog would go 15 feet, I'm like, come on, man, act like you got an idea out there.
Act like you want this snack at the end of the day.
And then the dog, once it got the toy, was flipping off everybody around it.
Is that
Took the toy and flipped it in the air.
the toy flipped it over the
Put on a not a fur coat. Already had the fur coat.
Put on a pimp coat.
Put on a daddy hat.
Put on a
A daddy collar.
I see what we're doing here. But yeah, the dogs aren't athletes. They're just animals that are really good at running and jumping.
But look, if you're gonna put dog diving championships on TV, I'm gonna watch it.
I'm going to watch it.
at least for like 5-10. I ended up DVRing it. I'm like, I'm going to go back and see how this ends.
Did you really?
Mm-hmm.
I love that one and the one where they're doing the obstacle course.
Yeah.
You got to hit the stick to get the ball out or whatever it is, hit the platform. I'm glad we're on the same thing in the summer times of nothingness, Jay.
And there were a few of those dogs where they were being held back before they let them go, and they had crazy eyes, and they were like, look at the passion. I'm like, that ain't passion. That dog wants to eat someone's face off.
What's inside of that ball that makes you this?
What?
That makes you this crazy?
That's not Kong peanut butter.
It's not. And what's wild too is when like the owners are holding the dogs before they jump the platform. I'm like, let them go
and hold them on 2 legs and stuff. Like, what are we doing here?
What are we doing? And the way this dog is barking is really disrespectful. Like, let him go.
Pretty much every owner looked like their name was Karen.
You ain't wrong.
I mean, really. Like I kept looking at him. I'm like, you were born to. You were born to do this. This is what you were born to do.
Nothing wrong with it.
Live vicariously through a dog.
Your only best friend is that dog.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I was looking. Your only best friend is that dog.
Probably share dinner together.
Off the same plate.
Pour some water in Buck Nasty's mama's dish.
That's a conversation in itself. What's the craziest middle of the summertime before football season start thing you're watching? It's got to be the dog.
That's on the list.
I think
from a sports perspective, that's
pickleball was on yesterday.
Pickleball was on.
Yeah.
Why have I heard so much about pickleball? Is it really?
It's smaller tennis, and it's
So you got to hit over the net.
Yeah, it's just different. It's like mini tennis. I used to play mini tennis where you only play in the first boxes.
Is it as intense?
Yeah, because it's faster paced.
Oh,
because it's hitting. It's shorter spaces between.
Remember,
everything.
Mike Keith shared with us how he once called a paintball competition on television.
This is true too. But I used to watch those. I may have heard Mike Keith when, like in the late '90s, early 2000s. Paintballing was big time.
Yeah,
we went on field trips for it, and I know that should be outlawed now. But
wait, school sanctioned field trips
to paintball. Yep. It was that
we went on field trips.
We went on
to play paintball with people's windows.
Youth field day.
It was from the criminal justice teacher.
There it is.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Now,
yeah.
You're reinforcing all those Memphis stereotypes.
But what I saw of Hell in a Cell, some of it I was just like, man, WWE TV is bad.
You're right.
But I thought the Bianca, Becky, and boy, it was so good. I can't remember the third. Asuka. That was solid. And then the Hell in a Cell. Can we just discuss this real fast?
Go ahead, Jay.
You've got 60 seconds.
Cody's got a torn pectoral. And he worked the match anyway and won the match with one arm. And now he goes away for 6 months to have surgery on this. I was like, is the bruise, did you guys put this on him? Because it looks so bad, it looked fake.
But then it changed colors.
But then it changed color during the match.
Did it really?
We'll show you the photo during the break. Look, all props to Cody for doing that, but what are we doing here?
Are they losing?
What are we doing here?
Losing it, or they're just off right now?
The content's just because they have all the money banked in their TV deals, they don't have to try.
They're lackadaisical.
You can't be that.
They don't have to try.
We spoke about that with the Super Bowl, didn't we?
Pretty much.
Teams winning, and they just whatever.
I mean, they cashed that Saudi money and that Peacock money, and they had to split, and they brought in a new executive, and what they have done, their arrangements, their stock is basically it's recession proof right now because the money's already been banked.
Yeah.
The money, they're living off that. They don't have to try. They don't care whether you watch or not because they've already got the money. It's just bad.
I hate that.
But look, hard to say that, Cody, I wouldn't have done that, but I'm glad you care about the craft enough to do it. That was something. And you and Seth, that was an interesting show. I'll say that. It was nowhere near as good as the AEW show the week before. That was the final statement on that. We'll come back after the top of the hour. We'll talk more about the NBA Finals. We can take it wherever you want to. Plus, Brian Rice will talk to us about whether or not he's more like a thumb or Zach Maxwell of Georgia Tech is more like a cactus and Jeremy Pruitt put together. It's J Mart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone.
This really pisses me off.
If having a home of your own was your plan for 2022, we're about halfway through the year, but you've still got time to turn that dream into a reality. Home ownership within reach for Tennesseans, first-time homeowners. You just have a lot more assistance out there than maybe you would think. With buying a home being as big a decision, you need that assistance. It can be easy to feel overwhelmed. I don't know where to start, right? Like, what am I supposed to do? Who do I contact? Do I need to get pre-qualified? The answer to that last one is yes. But if you talk with a mortgage expert, they can answer all your questions, come up with a plan that utilizes your best options, help you understand the process along the way. And that's what Mortgage Investors Group does better than anybody. As the Southeast's leading mortgage lender, Mortgage Investors Group here to help you get not just any loan, but the right home loan. They're committed to helping you close on time and make sure that your dreams are realized. They care about you. Their goal is to help you achieve yours. Simple as that. If that's a new home, a better rate, a big addition to your current home, whatever it is, they are ready, willing, and more than able to make it a reality. Let MIG work for you. Go to migonline.com today. That's migonline.com. Get all the info you need. Find the office nearest you or text 3 letters, MIG to 31399. That's MIG to 31399 and get pre-qualified. Mortgage Investors Group, the right home loan, equal housing lender, license number 109111.
Good morning. I'm Jonathan Shea for the Tennessee Volunteers. Advanced to the NCAA Super Regionals with a 9-6 win over Georgia Tech at Lindsey Nelson Stadium. The Vols scored 6 runs in the top of the 9th inning, then held off Georgia Tech's rally in the bottom of the 9th to advance to the Super Regionals for the second consecutive season. Tennessee will host Notre Dame in the next round. The VandyBoys defeated Oregon State 8-1 last night. Vanderbilt forces a winner-take-all game against Oregon State today in Corvallis. 3 o'clock will be the first pitch for that. NBA Finals, Golden State 107, Boston 88. The Warriors outscored the Celtics 35-14 in the third quarter.
5 seconds to go to Poole. Poole crosses half court, fakes and fires from half court on the way. He got it! He hit it from half court! Poole walks away and says, yes, sir! I got this! Steph Curry goes over. Well done, the Padawan. Well done.
Yeah, that was a ridiculous shot by Poole to end the third series, tied at 1 game apiece. Tampa Bay 3, Rangers 2. The Lightning rallied from a 2-0 deficit in the game to score the game-winning goal with 42 seconds left. Series is now 2-1 in favor of the Rangers. U.S. men's national team in soccer 0-0 draw with Uruguay yesterday. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
What's happening? Hour number 2, J. Martin Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Brian Rice, the sports animal, in the next segment.
I wake up every morning and choose violence.
Yeah. Looks like a thumb. He chooses violence. He puts a thumb on the violence button.
Smashed in the car. Is what he is. You ever had that done?
Have your hand? Yeah, oh, yeah.
You
yeah, that's
The worst thing is when I was growing up, our cat got the tail caught and was hanging. It wasn't as funny if you were watching it, because that cat was in agony. I mean, like holding out, like
For
paws all over.
What Jason didn't tell you is that they then drove off with the cat hanging out of the car.
No. Not Tom. You didn't do Tom like that.
Tom,
Tomcat.
like Tom and Jerry. Wait, is that why they named him Tom?
Tomcat.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
He isn't a tomcat, is he?
Tomcat Jerry Mouse.
We found out last week that Arby's isn't named after roast beef. It's named after whatever brothers.
I figured it was, but RB, I would like it better if you just found a clever way to name it after
No. Our
comma
fictional
B.
story is better than the fact.
Usually it is.
That's right.
Usually our version is better than the facts.
Absolutely. Like, why would we stop this good story because it's not true? No. Tell it exactly how you saw it, Jay.
So Michael DeJesus says Draymond is the Caillou of the NBA. He does have a round head.
Same amount of hair.
He does. He does have that Caillou head.
He does have a Caillou head.
And he's got the attitude, too. I text Savage last night and I had to tell him, Ron, I had to tell him, like, Draymond is going to forever get the extra. Yeah. Because with Jaylen Brown, he put both feet
it was very
on top
obvious.
of him.
He wanted Jaylen Brown to shove them off.
Oh, my God.
And Jaylen Brown kind of did this little elbow, like, man, get off me. And then Draymond then gave him a little bit of a push. But he's like, this is the finals. They don't want to eject me. I'm going to see if I can push this a little bit.
I'm going to go ahead and say it. Draymond, to me, is Vontaze Burfict of basketball. Without the
rap sheet?
No, he's got it. Draymond does have a rap sheet.
He had like a bar fight or something in Flint.
Oh, well, yeah. With the way he goes about trying to get people going, that's one thing I give Vontaze. He was good at it. And when he could get you and get away with it, he'd do it too. So that's Draymond. Him and Vontaze would compliment each other. Man, I love the way you play. You do? Well, I've watched you all these years. Like, that would be their conversation. But they pulled it out at home. I say this. I don't think Draymond survives in Boston if he pulls those same antics coming up soon.
I don't think he will pull those antics.
Yeah.
Unless they're behind and it's like
frustration setting in.
at that point in time.
Yeah, in Boston, Draymond's.
The thing
you want to talk about a crowd?
Oh yeah, they're gonna be all down. Like the thing about Draymond that I continue to say and have said since the beginning of his career. What irritates me about Draymond Green is that he is enabled to do this because he has Hall of Famers around him. If he played in a bunch of these other markets, never hear a peep from him. Or if you did, he would just be a joke.
In Sacramento,
Orlando, one of those teams that's been down for a long, long time. It's not like he was going to come in and change your franchise. Steph and Clay changed your franchise.
Facts.
You are the perfect complement to them, but
go.
you could not be the guy.
We had Tackle Jones say, "New Dennis Rodman."
Pretty much.
Dennis was this bad. Like
it's different.
It was just as.
But yes,
Dennis is
just like one of the. He was a Lambeer type guy. He's a guy that exists to be that person. He's your crazy guy. Barkley said to win a championship, you need a superstar, a great second fiddle, and a crazy guy.
Okay, so in this day of NBA with everybody's buddy, is it just Draymond's kind of the outlier as far as what's accepted now? Like, is he normal for this era of basketball, Jay? You see what I'm saying? Like, Barkley had it, the Bad Boys had it, like even the Bulls had a guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody had a guy. Did Houston have a guy when they were winning Rockets?
I mean, they had Barkley towards the end, but Barkley wasn't really on the same level with the guys that we're talking about exactly. But I mean, think about Portland. Portland had Rasheed Wallace for a long, long time. And Rasheed had a similar reputation. Look at Patrick Beverly. That's what Pat Bev is.
Well,
That's what Bruce
Pistons
Bowen
had
was
Rasheed
with
too.
the Spurs. He wasn't an irritant. He was just a dirty player.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a difference between being a dirty player and an irritant.
Irritant.
He's an irritant. Draymond Green is an irritant who is enabled to be. That's all they need him to be. Quietly, they're like, "You go do you, man, because you're just helping us out. We'll go win the games. You can go score 4 points and have 12 rebounds and do some of this other dirty work." And that's what Rodman did.
Yeah.
Rodman, of course, is on a different level from Draymond Green. I mean, Rodman was a stud of a player.
And you knew his role.
His
and he
defense
never
and
deviated
his
from
rebounding were just A1 level.
Mm-hmm.
And he was crazier too.
He was
He was a better player, so here's the hair.
Yeah.
Draymond can't get away with different colored hair.
No, he can't.
Because he's not quite the worm. By not quite, I mean not at all the worm.
The worm.
We'll come back and we'll talk to a thumb.
Good grief.
I hope he's listening this morning. I hope B. Rice is listening.
We're going to talk about what Zach Maxwell looked like.
He looked like a stud until he wasn't, though.
Yeah. Because they kept him out. He was going to pitch 200 if they...
I thought
I was like,
could've.
take him out of the game.
If this was an era of he's a tough kid, he'd have hit 150.
He had never pitched 70.
I know.
And he's over like 113.
I know coaches watch arms and pitch count more these days. If this was less social media, I almost feel like he'd have hit 140, 150. And they needed it too.
I don't know, because he was out of gas.
You thought he was out, but he was still gassing. Like,
yeah, but that doesn't mean your location's as
You
good
don't
as
think-
it should
okay.
be.
Yeah, he lost the location.
he lost the location.
One other quick thing. Man, the strike zone.
Yeah, it was not good. It floated.
It was so inconsistent.
Saturday
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, I mean it's just bad. Period.
Yep.
Like just that's tough because I hate watching a game and not knowing whether it's a ball or strike because I don't know what the dude behind the plate's going to call it. I know what a strike looks like and a ball looks like. There was no consistency for either team, either day. It was a disaster.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that strike zone had beer goggles. It was all over the place.
We'll talk about that. I saw that this weekend personally. It's like, y'all really? Even my kid that across, I'm talking about above his hands.
It's bad,
strike. Like, come on, y'all.
Robot umps, man. We'll be back. Brian Rice of the Sports Animal, J Mart, and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Is your HVAC system prone to breakdowns? You're getting to the point where you really don't want that to be true at all. Are you worried it can't keep up with this heat? June in Tennessee, that is not when you want your HVAC to crap out on you. It's just not. You can't afford to have it quit because, my goodness, you can't even be in your own home on some of these days. Lee Company makes buying a new system easy. Nearly 80 years of HVAC experience. Their pros are going to help choose the system that's actually right for you and your home. And right now, a great deal. They're offering $1,250 off a new system. Again, that's over $1,000. That's $1,250 off a new system or special financing for up to 60 months. Call my friends at Lee Company today. Learn all about their current financing and service special offers. Don't let your HVAC quit right now of all time. 615-567-1000. That's 567-1000, or visit them online at leecompany.com/promotions.
The payoff pitch. Called strike 3. That's the ball game. And the curtain falls on the regional. The Yellow Jackets fight to the bitter end. Tennessee advances to the Super Regional by sweeping the field here in Knoxville.
That was John Wilkerson on a call as Tennessee gets through the regional. Now the Super Regional, Notre Dame. We got to make a bet with Golick.
Mm-hmm.
Got to be a bet with Junior.
Has to. I'm not eating mayo.
Nah, I don't want to see that.
Dipping Oreo cookies in mayo.
I don't want to smell it in the studio.
We're on the same page.
It's not that. That's not.
Yeah.
That's a him thing.
Okay.
You want to do that on your bowl game? That's fine. There'll be no mayonnaise.
There'll be no mayonnaise.
That won't be a thing that's happening at all.
Find God.
Or dipping hot dogs in water and eating them. Like, I appreciate what they do on the 4th of July. But no, absolutely not.
No, hard pass. To the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline, our friend Brian Rice of Sports Animal in Knoxville on the line. Brian, what's going on?
You know, I want to start by bringing everybody together this morning because that call from John Wilkerson, my coworker and good friend, mentor, brings up something that Tennessee fans have been mad about all weekend. I think I can bring the Vanderbilt fans in here and even your Arkansas fans that listen that are baseball fans. The idea that a team that hosts a regional is not the home team for every game they play.
That was really weird.
Is the dumbest NCAA rule.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same rule in softball. Coaches have tried to get it changed, but most coaches won't vote for the change because most teams are never going to have the opportunity to be the home team in a regional. But it's still the dumbest rule in all of the NCAA sports.
Yeah, look, it is weird.
All down. Yeah,
it is definitely weird. Tennessee did get through. So we're a respectful program here. We always take the high road on absolutely everything. So Zach Maxwell, I feel like watching him, he could have continued to pull his head back towards his shoulders and could have created another 4 chins as if he was Inspector Gadget. That was a look, man. Did you see his glove? He had Banff in his glove. And for a while there, he looked like he deserved to have that thing stitched into his glove.
I said it on Twitter, and I stand by it. He looks like if Jeremy Pruitt and a cactus had a child. I mean, I called Jeremy Pruitt Coach Thumb after he left because Jeremy Pruitt used to look like one of those thumbs, you know, when you would draw a little face on your thumb and try to act it out. That's exactly what he looked like last night, and I felt bad for him. Now, he was mowing Tennessee down for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But he looked like, I mean, you were losing to one of the Veggie Tales pitching is what was happening.
Larry the Cucumber on the mound.
Yeah.
So you were losing to him, but you ended up getting the better of him. And watching Tennessee, I felt like I was waiting for what happened in the ninth to happen. I wasn't in the least bit surprised. And the main reason why is just because when you look at that lineup, Brian, like everybody that comes up, it's not like you're dodging 2 dudes. Like everybody that comes up can hurt you. And the more opportunities, like every time I looked up, here's Luke again. Here's Jordan Beck again. Here's Drew Gilbert coming through the lineup again. Cortland Lawson's your 8-hitter. That is a stupid lineup, and it's relentless. Like you've got to go through 9 innings to beat them, and that's why I feel like they're going to finish the job because I don't know who out there can actually hold up against that. And Campbell played them hard. Played them tough. Georgia Tech played them tough. And still by the end of it, it's like eventually they're going to get you because there's just so much talent here.
You know, I obviously follow college softball closer than college baseball over the course of the year because I'm broadcasting it every time. But when you look at a team that's dominant like Oklahoma has been for a long time, or like Tennessee was in 2012, 2013, it's what Tennessee baseball does now. It's your pitching is strong enough that the chances of the other team scoring more than 2 or 3 runs is extremely low. So you're going to be in every ball game. And when you hit 1 through 9, eventually over the course of the game, you're going to open it up. You're going to put those hits together. You know, early in the game yesterday, Tennessee's getting runners on. I think they had the leadoff hitter on in 2 of the first 3 innings, got him to second base, but just couldn't get that next big hit to knock him in. But when you're there, that goes one of 2 ways. You either get frustrated and you start pressing, or you go out and eventually you crack through. And when you hit 1 through 9 like Tennessee does, I mean, it's almost inevitable that it puts so much pressure on the pitchers because every batter, there's no deep breath. Every batter, you're one mistake away from it being over the fence, particularly with a team that hits 150 home runs a year like Tennessee does. You're one mistake away, and eventually that goes Tennessee's way, and that's why you've seen them win so many games late. You've seen them win so many games when other teams thought they had it sealed up. That's just what they do, is eventually they're going to crack through. Eventually they're going to find their rhythm, and that's what you saw against Campbell. It's what you saw then yesterday to close out the game against Georgia Tech.
The amount of stones it takes, B. Rice, to put in Dickey as a pinch hitter and also Christian Moore also. In those situations, man, for them being young guys and how they delivered, how would you rate that move and just their delivery on putting Tennessee in a better situation?
You know, I think it's Tony Vitello over the course of the season developing his guys and telling them that I'm putting you in these situations because we're going to need you. I take it back to I rewatched The Last Dance on a couple of flights this year with softball, and it's Michael Jordan riding I forget what the guy's name was, number 24 for the Bulls in '98. He rode him all year. Scott Burrell. He rode him all year. But then when they needed him in the first round playoff game, he delivered because he had been riding him all year. Well, Tony Vitello's put these guys in situations all year that maybe you go, is that the best thing? You know, there's a chance that you're going to cause them to get in their head if they fail here. But no, he's put these young guys in as much as possible. Mm-hmm. So when he's ready to push that right button in the postseason, they're ready to respond. And they've done that this weekend. They did that in the SEC tournament. They did it late in the regular season. And I think that's another thing that makes this team so dangerous is if you have a guy that's 0 for 3, you have a guy that's just not hitting, you have Evan Russell unavailable on Friday night, okay, that would have crushed a lot of teams. There are a lot of teams, I believe there are 11 teams that are playing the if necessary game today. Mm-hmm. Tennessee didn't get put in that situation despite being without one of their best players, despite yesterday having 11 players strike out over the first 7 innings, because they have the experience with these guys, these pinch hitters, these bench guys that are ready to come in, and they have the confidence to do what they're supposed to do.
The pitching for Tennessee, I felt like over the course of the weekend, it wasn't what you saw during the regular season. I know playoffs get a little bit more sticky, but Drew Beam kind of gave it up a little bit. They had to make a switch. I feel like Friday and Saturday night was the same ordeal too, but they have the bullpen to actually sustain the entire weekend, B. Rice. How do you look at the development of Beam and just watching all of the young guys that hit the mound kind of, take their licks and then get followed up by either some older guys or more young guys to push them through the weekend?
Well, I think one of the things, that you're looking at with Drew Beam is he's now throwing more innings than he's ever thrown before in his life. And that's really typical of freshmen and even sophomores this time of year. They wear down. And Tony Vitello tried to manage that a little bit over the last few weeks of the season. But he hasn't quite found that same magic that he had early in the season. There's also video out on him now that there wasn't out earlier. I don't know that people that are outside of the game realize just how much film is being watched now in college baseball. It used to be not at all, but now you have HD footage of basically every pitch every kid throws. So when you have a freshman, they're not as used to making the adjustments to, here's what's worked for me all year. Now guys are hitting it. What do I do next? And then there's the fatigue factor. But, if you're going out and he's giving you, if you know that he's likely only going to give you 3, 4, 5 innings instead of 5, 6, or 7 innings, you can plan for that. And Tennessee is one of the teams that has the pitching depth to plan for that. And if your starter gets chased in the second or third inning, that's not a devastating thing for this team either. You have a couple of guys who are good in long relief. You've seen it from Kirby Cannell over the course of the season. You saw it from a couple of different guys last night. Long relief is not a problem for this team, and that's another positive of the depth that they have developed all year long.
Brian Rice, the sports animal in Knoxville, joining us. Brian, I've never watched an event for as long as I've watched this over the weekend, and not just in Knoxville, but across college baseball, I have never seen a sport where I don't know if it's going to be a ball or a strike. Every pitch that's thrown, and I watched a lot of MLB, and I generally know where guys' strike zones are. These umpires, I don't have a clue. Like, I can look at it and say, I think I know what that is, but I have no idea what they're going to call. The level of inconsistency in the strike zone is baffling.
Yeah,
like,
man.
it is very difficult and hard to watch.
Yeah, it's bad. I mean, you go back to, I think it was the Saturday game. Tennessee's in one at bat. Chase Dolander had struck out a guy 3 times in the at bat, and the pitches weren't called, and so the guy ends up getting a double. And it's like, what else do you want him to do? I don't know what the answer is. All of the major programs have installed these TrackMan systems that the NCAA, by the way, doesn't let you use in the postseason. So you've seen all this, the stats on exit velocity and things like that. All these schools have invested in this technology. It also tells you if a pitch was a ball or a strike, and they don't want that out there in the postseason either. The SEC has, at least privately, obtained a lot of that data from schools to find out how good their umpires are with a system that's the same in nearly every ballpark. But it's been incredibly frustrating to watch because you see guys make great pitches.
Yeah.
And they're not rewarded for them. And I don't know if it's the umpires are not ready to see how far off a college pitcher can break a breaking ball. It's very frustrating as a fan to watch, not just Tennessee's team, but as you mentioned, this is happening everywhere. And you see these guys who are making major league quality pitches that just aren't being called because the umpire is not ready to see it and not ready to call it properly. I don't know what the answer is. I really, we talk about officiating in every sport. I don't know what the answer is. Is it robot umpires for the strike zone? Maybe. But I think we have an officiating problem in every sport, and I don't know what the way to solve it is because there just isn't. You can't go hire somebody better if you have. I've said that about SEC officials in football. I believe the SEC has the best football officials in the country, and we complain about them every week because they make bad calls every week. That's saying that they're the best is not an endorsement of them really as much as it is a commentary on where everybody else is.
B. Rice, speaking of pitching, Zach Maxwell, just in general.
Bookending this conversation.
Yeah, I got to. I have to, man. He lit it up. I got to ask you, one, what do you think of his performance? And in a world without social media and pitch counting, how many pitches he's had in the game, do you think they would have allowed more had we not been in this era of conversation about pitch counts? And what was his performance like?
Well, I mean, their season, their lives were on the line. I would have been tempted if I was Georgia Tech's head coach to just leave him out there as long as you could because you knew he was going to be more effective. Of course, the other side of that is we were talking about with Tennessee's lineup. The more Tennessee hitters see it, the better chance that they make great contact. But I would let somebody make contact before I pulled him out. He had an all-time great performance last night for a postseason pitcher. I mean, we make the jokes about what he looks like. He really looks like Georgia Tech pulled a guy off of the Coca-Cola Distribution Center's softball team and said, "Good luck, son. You're out there." He looked like he's 40. But you know what? There are MLB scouts last night that have seen him as a closer over the course of the season. They've seen him as a guy who struggled early in the year, and they found a lot last night to like. And this time of year is one of those things that MLB scouts are looking for how you perform when games matter. Are they watching your film from Wednesday night starts against non-conference teams? Yeah, they're watching it. But right now is what matters. And I think he made himself some money last night. I would have loved to have seen him go out for another inning because once he was out of the game, you saw the Tennessee offense take the deep breath and go, all right, that guy's out. We're winning this game now.
So with the way Tennessee plays, and let's just throw this out, baseball can be boring, right? We can agree on that. It's long. Yep. You got to wait on the pitchers, got to wait on the hitters, get in the box. But you have Tennessee, and let's say you have the Savannah Bananas. and just the different ways into playing the game. Is it acceptable? Is it traditional? Do you like it? Do you hate it? What's been your overall middle-of-the-road conversation about the way Tennessee plays, or let's just the crazy, minor league stuff with the Savannah Bananas? Like, is that something you're going to see more in baseball to engage folks? Because I've heard people say, I want to go see a Savannah Bananas baseball game. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and they have like a 2-month waiting list for tickets down there to it. But they're a different era or a different area down there with what they're doing. But it is fun because it brings people to the game. Everybody has an opinion on Tennessee baseball. And I love that because that's great for the game. I would prefer that players didn't give the right fielder the fingers they run around like happened last night. I would prefer that you dial that part back just a little bit. But I love the swagger. It's what this team does, and it's what has kind of powered them throughout the season, and it's good for attention. I mean, when the College World Series starts in a week, and you hope Tennessee gets through Notre Dame this coming weekend. I know ESPN hopes Tennessee gets through Notre Dame this coming weekend because everybody in the sports world is going to be tuned in to either cheer for or against Tennessee's baseball team. And I love that. And that's so good for the game because it's not like they're a gimmick. They come out and they play hard and they play good baseball and they do the rest of this stuff. So if you're looking for some excitement, you're going to come for the story and stay for the game. And I don't think they could ask for anything more than that.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's well said. B. Rice, we appreciate you, brother. If somebody doesn't try to create a Zach Maxwell cactus graphic, I feel like we've lost as a society.
Well, it's a great thing that you can laugh at it. It would not have been funny if we had lost to a VeggieTale last night. That would not have been a good thing. I would not be as jovial about it this morning if we were looking at an if necessary game at 1 o'clock this afternoon. But it's on to the Fighting Irish.
I feel like if it was a VeggieTale, they probably wouldn't have had a Banff pitching glove. Thank you, B. Rice. That's Brian Rice. I'm just going to cut him while he's laughing.
Hey.
A VeggieTale. That's pretty funny.
That was good. He thought about that one for sure.
But he pitched his guts out.
Literally.
Had a lot of guts left.
He did. A lot of neck, too.
That's pretty much all he was a neck that stopped.
Neck and a stomach. But he pitched his butt off.
No, he was great.
So we backhanded it, though, but he pitched his butt off last night. He did. It was a great showing by that dude, man.
And he was asked to do a lot more than he's usually asked to do. And why was Georgia Tech barely in the tournament? Because their team ERA was nearly 8. Dang. They had pitching problems all year. And then over that 2-day span over the weekend, they gave some people a run for their money, including making Tennessee earn it in the 9th inning. And it is stupid that Tennessee's wearing road unis and batting in the top half of the inning while it's in their own state. That's just dumb.
I don't get that one either. I'm looking like, we're at the top?
I kept looking at it like, oh, the game's over here because it's bottom. No, it's not.
No.
It's the top.
It's the top. Yep.
Weird. 615-737-1045 is the telephone number. 737-1045. We'll take your thoughts. We will continue to talk all about this. Vanderbilt's actually playing today. They got to beat Oregon State twice. I wouldn't put it past them.
No, baby.
I don't think it will happen.
Well, here's the thing. Pitching-wise, they're actually okay.
Yeah.
Because they hit so well.
Yeah.
It rested their arms a bit.
Their bats are getting out of control over the last few days.
20 this weekend, 23?
Yeah, they had 21. I thought it was on Saturday.
Look, if they're going to go down, they're literally going to go down swinging.
Hey, look at that. That's a radio professional. Your card, Shafe, and you need to be dealt with. It's Jay Martin and Mo 104.5 The Zone.
Mortgage interest rates are starting to tick up, but the guys at Home Loan Expert are still locking in their clients with great loans. So if you've been sitting on the fence to get a refi, if you haven't gotten your pre-approved home loan locked in, now is the time. And this is why. By refinancing your 30-year mortgage with the Home Loan Expert, you can still save hundreds, if not thousands of dollars a month with a simple refinance, okay? So if you're struggling with a little bit of bills and debt, your home is your biggest asset. And with the home equity so high right now, it's the perfect time to do a cash out refi. It can lower your monthly payments. It can also give you cash to pay off some debt and have you skip a few mortgage payments. So if you're looking to expand your home or make some much needed home improvements, then make your largest asset work for you with a cash out refi through the Home Loan Expert. The average homeowner is currently pulling in about $54,000 in the refi. That's more equity than last year, actually. So if you've been sitting at home for months, people are looking for new homes and you know this. So getting your home, so homes are still selling fast. Getting pre-approved is key to finding your dream home. At thehomeloanexpert.com, they can lock in your interest rate, project your payments, and get you pre-qualified. So when you find that right home, you can submit that offer and close on it. Thehomeloanexpert.com are doing more home loans than ever and are closing purchases in less than 21 days. So don't wait. 21-day closing guarantee. Visit thehomeloanexpert.com.
So I got to clown Jadeveon. Jadeveon said last week he re-signed with the Browns because all he wants to do is chase a championship. That's the joke. That's the whole punchline.
That's the punchline.
Would you sign Jadeveon Clowney again?
He said he feels like they got the team to do it this year. No, you don't. You're probably not going to have your quarterback for the first half of the season.
Another all-season championship, baby. How many is
if
that in a row?
If they gave him away in July, they'd at least have won 3 in the last half decade.
That's 5 in a row, ain't it? Off-season champs.
I was like, come on, Clowney. You stayed there because they offered you the most money there.
Yeah, for sure. And he also gets a Batman.
Yeah, because he didn't have to be that guy because Myles Garrett's that guy.
And that's okay to take second rate when I thought he was the guy. It is what it is when it comes down to him. Picking him, like I said, if it was the bread, beautiful. Love that. But to jump out and say that, they're going to chase a championship, to your point, let's be real about it. Deshaun's case is probably going to come when? Early July.
They're going to make that announcement in July, probably. The NFL
he's not wrong. He's going to chase a championship. They're just going to be way behind some other ones.
I asked you before we came on, I was having a random text thread with somebody about, it was like Deshaun's cooked. I was like, I don't think Deshaun's cooked. But I don't know if Cleveland's going to be able to win either, Jay. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not knocking them because I played against them all the time, but Cleveland's going to have to prove it to me that they're not that team anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're probably going to have half the season without Deshaun. You also got to figure out what you're going to be offensively without him. Defense, like, y'all have been having a bunch of high pedigree guys for a long time, and it still hasn't really garnered much attention other than the fact that Myles Garrett smacking somebody up beside the head with a helmet.
Yeah, like I look at all of it and I say it's not for this year. If Watson's going to be there, it's going to be next year. Like, I'm not saying he won't be there at all this year, but got a couple of more cases pop out. The NFL is going to suspend him.
They got to,
and they can also add to it based on new cases and all this.
Protect the shield.
There's something here, and the Browns, they don't play enough games for a 6-game suspension not to finish them off. Is Baker, like I see on ESPN right now, could Baker Mayfield start for Browns this season? I don't think so.
I ain't gonna say they ruined that because Baker kind of did it to himself.
Oh, I think that's their plan.
Is to start Baker.
If Deshaun's not playing, I think this front office is idiotic enough to think Baker's going to be starting week 1.
As a person with pride,
I would give them the Jordan Beck for that.
Okay. You run across the middle of the field with that. I'd Antonio Brown that situation.
I would. I'd give him the one-finger salute and be like, nah, guys, not the way this played out.
So that's where I'm at with Cleveland, though. Like, how do y'all botch this? Like, Baker sold out for you guys. And I know you're always looking for the better guys. The reason they have the draft, right? Mm-hmm. But then you leave him there and you can't trade him away. Like, just pay the difference of his veteran salary, minimum salary, and offload him at this point. You got Jacoby Brissett. You got Joshua Dobbs. You got guys that's actually played quarterback in games. And you still holding on to Baker. Like, but again, and it's post June 1st at this point.
You're assuming they're smart.
Is that wrong?
This is the same organization that in guaranteed money
gave him 100% guaranteed.
Is giving Deshaun Watson nearly $250 million.
On top of what's his first year salary because of suspension?
$1 million. To make sure that it doesn't hurt his bank account.
So that they can appease to him. And they
him over $200 million, Ramon.
Ain't mad at the bread. Just mad at
I'm
the
not
method.
mad at the bread.
At the
I'm
method.
just saying you have to look at that general manager and you have to look at that organizational team with Cleveland. And really just be like,
excuse me?
And there's that's right. And there's no way that they did it thinking they were going to win this year. Because they know what's coming.
Yeah. I'd almost, at this point, with Deshaun making news every day, right or wrong, I'd almost expect him to get 10 to 12 games.
If I had to predict it right now, I'd say 8. But I could easily see you being right.
I'm talking about just because to lay down the law. Well, you don't want us to take all of your money. Well, I'm going to take the majority of it. This million is going to I don't even know if you call
when
it
you
confusing.
have 230 guaranteed.
Yeah, you're barely tapping the top of the soda can at that point.
615-737-1045 is your telephone number. Michael Bohlin, NBA on CBS, he will join us in the second segment next hour, we'll be able to jump into the NBA Finals with him. We can take it wherever you want to if you want to give us a call, whether it's college baseball. Vanderbilt is playing today. Tennessee made sure they didn't need the if necessary game with their top of the ninth performance against Georgia Tech yesterday. Zach Maxwell didn't know we were coming in talking about a cactus.
Cucumber. VeggieTales cucumber.
I like the VeggieTales thing even better.
VeggieTales cucumber.
What is a cucumber?
Cucumber. My words they twisted. That's all good, Jay.
Hey, I said J. Martin Moan earlier. So.
Yeah, we're Martin Timon at this point.
We're all capable. That's right. 615-737-1.
I hate it here.
Hey, so ESPN put up an article about rookies and how they're going to handle 10 different stat categories. Mm-hmm. Any Titans mentioned? We'll tell you next. J. Martin Moan, 104.5 The Zone.
Life happens fast. Sometimes you can plan on when those life-changing moments are going to happen, but most of the times you just don't know. Well, let me tell you this. Open Door can meet you wherever and whenever you need them. Like, did you just land that dream job that is moving you across the country? Or you had a new baby like my guy Jason over here. So you're deciding to upsize or downsize. But when life doors open, Open Door will handle the house. Open Door can help you avoid having to worry about finding transitional housing or paying a double mortgage. You can do what hundreds of thousands of people have already done. Request an offer through Open Door. Go to opendoor.com and enter your address. Tell them a little bit about your house, and you'll get an offer back in minutes. Open Door looks at your house, the surrounding market, and gives you a real competitive offer. You don't have to make the repairs, do prep work, or schedule showings. And you can choose your closing date and move on your schedule. Get a free offer at opendoor.com/WGFX. That's opendoor.com/WGFX. Life is full of opportunities, and selling your house shouldn't keep you from them. Sell to Open Door. Again, it's opendoor.com/WGFX. And offer eligibility varies, and Open Door is represented by Open Door Brokerage, Inc., license 02061130 in California, and Open Door Brokerage, LLC in its other markets.
8:02. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Shea for the Tennessee Volunteers. Advance to the NCAA Super Regionals in baseball with a 9-6 win over Georgia Tech at Lindsey Nelson Stadium.
The payoff pitch. Called strike three. That's the ball game. And the curtain falls on the regional. The Yellow Jackets fight to the bitter end. Tennessee advances to the Super Regional by sweeping the field here in Knoxville.
That is the abbreviated Vol Network call. The Vols scored 6 runs in the top of the 9th and held off Georgia Tech's rally in the bottom of the inning to advance to the Super Regionals for the second consecutive season. Tennessee will host Notre Dame in the next round. The VandyBoys defeated Oregon State 8-1 last night. They won both games they needed to win yesterday, forcing a winner-take-all game against Oregon State today at 3 p.m. in Corvallis. NBA Finals Game 2, Golden State 107, Boston 88. Warriors outscored the Celtics 35-14 in the third quarter. Series tied at 1 game apiece. Tampa Bay was on the verge of going down 3-0 in their series, but they rallied from a 2-0 deficit in the game to score the game-winning goal with 42 seconds remaining. It was the Lightning 3, Rangers 2. Rangers still lead the series 2-1. A tune-up for the World Cup coming up this fall into the winter, actually. U.S. men's national team, a 0-0 draw with Uruguay. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
What's happening? Hour number 3, J. Martin Ramon here, 104.5 The Zone. We'll jump into the NBA Finals. Game 2 won by the Warriors by 19 last night. It wasn't even that close, at least not in the second half. We'll talk to Michael Bohlin of CBS in the next segment about that. And Kayla Anderson at the top of the 4th hour from News 2, of course. Ramon Foster, Jonathan Schaefer here. I'm Jason Martin at J. Martin Ramones, where you can find us on Twitter. ESPN Plus Mike Clay put this out a few days ago, projecting top NFL rookie leaders in 10 key stat categories, top 5 in passing, rushing, receiving, sacks, interceptions, and more. So, passing yards and touchdowns. I'll ask you, Schaefer, who do you think of the rookies is number 1 on that list?
Of the rookies, I think it's going to be Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, it is. It's Pickett, Corral, and Ritter, 1, 2, and 3. The projection is 2,308 yards, 12 touchdowns for Kenny Pickett.
It's not bad for first season.
Which would mean what? Takes over at some point during the year?
You would think so. Yeah, that's probably the case.
I imagine Trubisky starts week 1.
Yeah, I got him.
And you give him the opportunity.
Yeah.
As you develop Pickett. Matt Corral, 1931 and 9 touchdowns. Des Ridder, 1791 and 10 touchdowns. Number 4, Malik Willis, 191 yards, 1 touchdown. Which means he's probably done something in the red zone maybe, or
mop up in a game.
He's done some mop up duty, yeah. But that's more than Sam Howell, 52 yards, 0 touchdowns.
He gonna actually get some burn? I actually think he would have a bigger chance of playing
because it's Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the answer. I'm not. Spoiler alert.
Yeah. Slay Live. No, was that Buck? No, that was Buck Live. Yeah. No, Sam Howell for sure, because it's Carson Wentz. I see him playing more. Why not go get a top 10 quarterback next year?
Yeah. Rushing yards, top 5. We don't have to try and parse through it. Your guy's not there. If you're looking for Haskins, he's not there. I mean, you've still got Derrick Henry here, but Breece Hall is expected. 1,000-yard rusher in year 1 with the Jets.
Where they got the Walker kid in Seattle.
551.
Yeah, Walker.
3rd. 591 for Damian Pierce. Problem for Walker is they've got backs there. They got Rashard Penny and they got a bunch of dudes.
Here's the thing. He might be better than all of them.
Well, if he is, then he's probably going to average more than 551, but that's going to be an awful football team. They got a terrible offensive line. They've got no quarterback. They're bad, and I think they're trying to bottom out.
Speaking of running backs and just having a plethora of them, like Baltimore last year, Cleveland's doing the same thing. They just signed Dearness Johnson again to another deal. So they got Chubbs, they got Hunt, they got Dearness. I'm like, well, you're planning to be without Deshaun, huh? Just had to drop that little nugget real
That's
quick.
right. That's not wrong. Receiving yards for the season. Traylon Burks is on the list of the top 5. Where is he on the list, Shafe? I already told Moan this. So I'm asking you.
I'm going to say 4th.
Second.
It's higher. Yeah. Okay.
Drake London, 967 with the Falcons is number 1. Traylon Burks, 893 with the Titans is 2. Garrett Wilson with the Jets, 857 is 3. Olave with the Saints, 847. So these guys are all within 50 yards of one another.
All right. So,
you could put him second to 4th.
Right.
Because it's a margin of error right there.
And I'm not trying to be right. It surprised me a little bit.
Alec Pierce with the Colts is 5th, 746.
With the Colts, wow.
Think about Traylon Burks. The reason why you pick him is because, somebody has to catch passes here for Ryan Tannehill. Without AJ, somebody's getting the lion's share of that. If Hooper gets some of it, Bobby Trees gets some of it. Traylon's still the guy you would anticipate. Right. But Traylon is going to reap some of those benefits.
Yeah.
You're hoping Hooper's around 600 plus.
Yeah,
yards.
I'd say that's about
what
right.
I would hope. The way it's set up, if we can be honest, if you trusted Ryan Tannehill to be that guy, of all the receivers this year, rookie receivers, I'd almost expect Traylon to have 1,000. I'd almost expect him to, especially in 17 games right now. If Ryan Tannehill is the franchise quarterback that you trusted from another organization, you put Traylon with Aaron Rodgers. That's 1,000 yards for him.
I think it depends upon Derek's output.
You think even still?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's what the team runs. We know this.
I know, but God, dog, you got to start.
I know. That's why I'm saying it the way I'm saying it, because I know. I'm saying because I know where you are on
right,
this.
but you know where I'm at.
But if Bobby Trees gets over 1,000,
I think you can have both.
I don't think either one of them goes over 1,000.
Not if Derek's over 1,400 yards.
Yeah, I think if you get both of them somewhere around 800 yards, you get Hooper with 600, and you somehow still get near 15 with Derek. I think you're.
So if Derek's at 15, that means that their war of attrition of giving him the ball is what speeds the game up to where you can't spin it through the air as much.
Probably.
Yeah. But y'all know where I stand.
I know.
And you know where I was getting at.
You're doing the one thing no one else is doing. And why is no one else doing it, right?
Because Derek.
Right.
Yeah.
Derek's a little different.
But here's their counter argument. We got the number 1 seed last year.
Yeah.
Now the counter argument
this year? No.
Now the counter argument to that is they lost their first playoff.
That's what I was going to say. How much weight is that holding going into next year now?
Well, here's the
Doesn't mean
thing.
anything
Here's
now.
the thing. It means absolutely nothing. The thing with the Titans right now and with the fan base at large is that loss, rightly or wrongly, invalidates everything in terms of perception. It doesn't matter. Because it's like, okay, now show me. Now when you get here, show me you're going to win when you can get here.
Yeah.
Touchdowns from
It was
scrimmage.
a catastrophic loss,
It
guys.
was. I know. It was the game you couldn't lose.
You couldn't lose the game.
Yep.
Touchdowns from scrimmage rookies. Traylon Burks is on this list. Where do you think he is?
Touchdown from scrimmage rookies, 4.
6.
He's tied for second, really, because Brees Hall has 7, and then Watson, Sky Moore, Garrett Wilson, Traylon Burks are all at 6.
Oh, 6. 6 on the year. So 800 plus yards, 6 touchdowns for a rookie. That's solid.
Yeah, if you get that, I think you've felt pretty good about that season.
So you're getting Corey Davis's production.
Yeah, kind of.
That's basically what you're getting. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Without
you
the
have
top
more,
5
but you-
height.
Well,
Yeah, but this kid has his
top
own.
20 height and
in some
got
ways,
AJ out.
He's facing just as much pressure, just from a different direction as Corey.
Nah, he's facing more.
And I would agree he's actually facing more.
Because Corey wasn't walking into a team that had already achieved.
Expectations.
Yes.
Yeah. Or
Things have changed, making it to the playoffs as often as they have. I'm seeing if the Titans are mentioned anywhere else. In tackles, they're not. Interceptions, they're not. Sacks, no. And that's it for the category. So,
If you have Bobby Trees with over 1,000 yards and Burks around 900 and Hooper around 500 or 600, and you have NWI in there, you see what the Phillips kid can do at receiver, you will think they've done pretty well.
yeah, if they were to do it, I don't think they will hit those numbers. But if they hit 1,000 and 900, you'd feel tremendous about that.
And
sure.
that would then also be assuming Derek's around 1,400, 1,500-ish.
So if all of those things are true, what's the win-loss record of the Titans at that point then? 1,500 for Derek, 800 for the Rook, 1,000 for Bobby Trees, 600 for Hooper.
I think
That's
I mean,
very
obviously
efficient.
the defense has to hold up
Yeah.
against an AFC where there's going to be a lot of points scored. But I'd
Yes.
say you're a double-digit team at that point. You're at least a 10-7 at worst.
And I'm predicting them as a 10-win team.
A 10-win team.
I want to say when we went through it in my head, it was 10 or 11, and I think it's where I have
I got it
somewhere.
written down somewhere in my notes. I
But
think.
we'll be able to reevaluate this later on when we're actually closer to the season and we know what everybody's roster actually finally looks like, and if there have been any injuries. Hopefully nobody is hurt by the time you get to the season, but you know that's not how that works. So there's going to be somebody that's going to get unlucky. You hope it's not you this time around. But I thought it was important to go through that.
Yeah,
More
I like
so
that.
just to show you that Traylon Burks is being talked about
higher.
in a way that makes more sense in terms of, he's going to get usage. He's not redshirting this season. They need him.
Yeah.
And there are people that are saying and projecting positive things for his rookie season. And you're going to find plenty of the opposite. We know this.
Yeah, for sure.
Michael Bohlin, a CBS NBA editor, will join us on the other side. We'll talk to him about what changed between Game 2 and Game 1. There were some coaching moves that changed around. One being Andre Iguodala wasn't in the game. They actually changed up. They put Draymond Green on Jaylen Brown. But the biggest thing they did is they put Gary Payton in and let Andre. I mean, Andre Iguodala is a hell of a player. It's 2022.
He's come on now.
Yeah, we probably need to move on.
You got to get there when they're riding high.
So we'll talk about that with Michael Bohlin next. You can call us as well. 615-737-1045. It's Jay Martin Ramon here on The Zone. Are you noticing doors and windows sticking or cracks in your bricks? Your steps appear to be sinking. You got a boiling basement wall. Your chimney is leaning. All these are signs of foundation issues or possible foundation issues with your home. And these are devaluing things. They don't go away on their own. They only get worse. They can become incredibly costly if they aren't already. And you've got to find somebody that you can trust that's going to tell you what's actually happening and that you can actually believe what they tell you. And that's United Structural Systems, here for over a quarter of a century, A+ with a Better Business Bureau, 100% customer satisfaction rating. They just know what they're doing, and you can trust them. They're not just going to find something in order to make money off you. They would rather earn your business and respect long term. If you need them, you'll always call them if they treated you right. So, locally owned, not a franchise. They are problem solvers. They customize solutions depending on your specific needs. They'll come out, they're going to diagnose your problem. They'll give you a free estimate, and then you don't pay until the last step of the job if something needs to be done. Over 23,000 satisfied customers and counting can tell you it's an easy call to play, and it's a smart call to place. Call them today, 615-227-2275. That's 227-2275, or online at usscn.com. United Structural Systems.
5 seconds to go to Poole. Poole crosses half court, fakes and fires from half court on the way. He got it! He hit it from half court! Poole walks away and says, yes, sir! I got this. Steph Curry goes over. Well done, young Padawan. Well done.
Just like in the NBA, all the talk Friday was Steph Curry being overrated. And then all the talk today is he taking over this series? That's why I say it's not even chapters in a book. It's books in a series.
Yeah.
It's 7 Harry Potter books. That's what you're looking at. And that's actually how many Harry Potter books there were. There are continuing threads because the same cast of characters are there, but reading too much into one game, that's how you make bad decisions. Celtics won game 1, so now they're going to sweep? No, that's not how it works.
Yeah, no bait.
It's not like they had won 12 in a row or something like that were unbeatable. They were a bad Jimmy Butler decision away from not even being in this situation, potentially on the 3-ball in Game 7 a week ago. We bring in Michael Bohlin on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline, NBA editor for CBS. Michael, how are you?
Doing great. Thank you guys so much for having me on this morning.
So what did you see from Game 1 to Game 2 in terms of the adjustments that Steve Kerr was able to make, or was it just a function also of Boston not being red hot shooting the ball late?
I mean, obviously, you know, they didn't have another fourth quarter historic comeback in their arsenal last night, and the Warriors once again won the third quarter like they have done historically during the Steve Kerr run with Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson, Draymond Green run the charge there. But yeah, from Game 1 to Game 2, obviously we saw some differences there. You know, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum got off to an extremely hot start, and then that kind of petered off as the game went on. That really kind of hurt Boston because they just, you know, Al Horford didn't produce like he did in Game 1. They didn't get as much out of Derek White, even though he had a very fine, you know, performance off the bench, you know, in terms of what he was able to contribute. But, you know, if they're not going to get, you know, if they're not going to be firing on all of those cylinders, it's going to be hard for them to compete, especially on the road against this Warriors team when you have Stephen Curry, as you said, going off for 29 points. Even though Klay Thompson didn't have the best game, you still had Jordan Poole chipping 17 points in 23 minutes off the bench. So they're going to be able to score points. That's one thing we know about the Warriors. Last night the Celtics weren't able to keep up, and we saw the big difference between Game 1 and Game 2 there.
So you talked about Tatum and Brown starting out hot, and Tatum definitely started out hot after a bad Game 1, but it kind of felt like the reverse of Game 1 in that Tatum started out hot, petered out down the stretch, and then Steph Curry kind of did the same thing in Game 1 where he was unstoppable in the first quarter and then couldn't help stop the bleeding in the fourth quarter. I think it's just, again, these are two teams that are going to go back and forth, and if this ends up being a 7-game series, I don't think anybody should be surprised.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I personally thought this would go 6 games at the very least. My pick was that the Warriors would win in 6 going into it, but you know, if it goes 7, I would not be surprised. I really think, as you noted, after Curry got off to that, you know, absurd start in Game 1, hitting 6 threes in the first quarter, the Celtics kind of changed how they defended him. They were much more aggressive in terms of not only hedging on those pick and rolls, but really trying to make sure they weren't having a drop guy in terms of the big man who would be coming off of that pick and roll when they were trying to set it for Curry, that they wouldn't allow him to be able to step into a shot, being able to come up more closer to the three-point line, being able to contest the shot right away as opposed to letting him walk right into one was a big difference in Game 1. And it's a big reason why I believe, you know, Boston was able to, you know, pull off the comeback they did, and Curry was as ineffective as he was over the course of those last 3 quarters of the game. But last night, you know, they were able to pretty much do what they wanted. Obviously, that third quarter was where they just opened up the game, and after that, it was, you know, really not much of a contest during the fourth quarter. But you know, in terms of how they need to go ahead and I guess address the way that they defend the Warriors, Boston should be more aggressive in that aspect. You can't let these guys walk in the shots like they are. They're too good at what they do. And, you know, obviously the Warriors are known for lighting up the scoreboard at this point. That's what they've basically made their, you know, made their living off of over the last 8 years now that Steve Kerr's been running that show. So you got to make them uncomfortable. They did a good job of that over the course of the last 3 quarters of game 1. They didn't do a good enough job of that last night.
The early start of the game, as far as Draymond's role in it, wasn't crazy, but the fact that he was able to get Jaylen Brown into situations, tangled up on the ground. How do you see this happening going to Boston, being the way Boston crowd is and how emotional Draymond can get at times? Do you see him scaling it down, or is this a part of this series between Draymond and the Celtics organization in general?
I heard you guys mention that earlier on this show when I was listening, and I really think it's a great point. Draymond's Draymond. He's going to be exactly what he is. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The incident with Jaylen Brown last night, where obviously he fouled him on the shot and then kind of rolled his feet up on him after that, and then did a little grab at his shorts. That's just who he is. He's gonna get under people's skin. He knew at that point he had already had been assessed a technical foul. They weren't going to throw him out of the game for that, right. Not at this stage. So he's going to continue to push those buttons, and as he should. That's it's a big reason why he's as valuable of a player as he is, in my opinion. Just because, as you guys noted earlier, if he was on Sacramento or the Detroit Pistons, he would not be able to be this type of player that he is. But you put him around these players, and he's the perfect fit for exactly what they need him to be. So I wouldn't expect any sort of change. If anything, Draymond probably ramps it up now that he's going on the road and, being in a hostile environment there in Boston.
Michael Bohlin of CBS joining us. Michael, one interesting note that happened yesterday, it wasn't related to the finals, is Quinn Snyder stepping away from Utah. That's a dude that has a lot of respect. He's obviously a really good coach. He's helped them out a lot. You saw that Donovan Mitchell said he was disappointed and surprised by what happened. That's a team that he has done really, really well with, meaning Quinn Snyder, and he's stepping away saying they need a new voice. Doesn't that sort of tell you he thinks they've peaked, that they might need to be blown up?
It's an interesting question. I mean, obviously, they've had success. Obviously, they've been a consistent playoff team, but they haven't, made it past that second round of the playoffs under his tenure. So, in that aspect of it, do they maybe need a new voice? Possibly. Do they maybe need to, move things around? It'll be interesting to see what they do this offseason. Rudy Gobert is a name that's been mentioned as someone who could be possibly moved. You obviously brought up Donovan Mitchell and his reported comments on the move last night, but I don't really anticipate him going anywhere. He's locked up under a contract, and he's a good enough player where you don't necessarily just give the franchise away just because he necessarily wants to go. I'd be interested to see what they really do there. I think Quinn Snyder's a hell of a coach, to be quite honest with you. Obviously, he's had some health issues and things like that where he's had to deal with things during his tenure there in Utah, but at the same time, this was something that was kind of rumored to have been, in the works at least. The fact that it happened last night, like almost 2 hours before the game tipped, not necessarily the best timing for me and my perspective of my work, but it wasn't necessarily surprising to see that it happened. I'll be really interested to see where they go in terms of a coach going forward. Obviously, there's a bunch of names that have already been rumored that they're going to look at in terms of their search to find a replacement for Snyder. But, that's a franchise where even if you kept everything intact, you could bring in a new voice and still hope that you could run it back with that group and maybe get some different results. But there's a lot of talent there. And honestly, it's a job that I feel like, a lot of people would want, to be quite honest.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, too. We're going back to this Celtics and Golden State series. What is Klay's role moving forward? Jay kind of brought this up, I think, about a week or two ago. Like, Klay got to get back to the old Klay, and it's not looking like it's him. 11 points last night in 30 minutes, but then you have the young guy emerging, Jordan Poole. And you got to ask yourself, like, is Klay pushing himself down to number 3 and Draymond's number 4 as far as importance to the team? And I know Jordan Poole's coming off the bench, but Clay gotta join the party a lot more often in this series if they're gonna win.
Yeah, no, I agree with you completely. Obviously Clay was much more effective in the series against Dallas than he has been in his first 2 games against Boston. He's 10 for 33 from the field, which just simply isn't going to get it done, especially when he's 4 for 15 from 3-point land, and that's what he does. So you need him to be that type of player, but at the same time, as you mentioned, you have that, you have Jordan Poole coming off the bench who kind of fills that same role.
Yeah.
Albeit in a much, less intensive way than Klay Thompson would be expected to fill it. But, that helps Golden State. And, if they didn't have that extra firepower off the bench, it would be a much different series, in my opinion. Honestly, Boston would probably be up 2-0, despite the fact that they played bad last night. Just because you can't rely on Stephen Curry to do everything.
Right.
And Draymond Green is just not a scorer. And he impacts the game in a number of different ways, but he's not going to light up that. He's not going to fill up the scorebook. That's just not what he does. And, the fact that they have that extra scoring option to come off the bench, and, obviously he started at the beginning of the playoffs when Curry was coming off the bench when, whatever. But, it makes it more comfortable for them, I feel like, just because they have that extra option where they know someone can light the scoreboard up. Obviously, he hit a bunch of threes last night. He hit that half court buzzer beater right before the half. That's the type of thing that they allow themselves to do, where obviously other teams like Boston don't necessarily have that same advantage.
Right.
You look at their bench. If Derek White's not going off for them, they really don't have a ton outside of Grant Williams. That's it. Those are the 2 guys that are really going to score points for them off the bench. Last night they didn't get it done, and we saw what happened in the end. But Golden State, if Jordan Poole's clicking, as long as 2 of those guys are going off, I feel like the Warriors are just a tough team to defend.
Good stuff, Michael.
Absolutely.
We appreciate the time with you this postseason, and certainly I'm just hoping we get a decent series. Last night you were able to turn it off fairly early.
Yeah.
I think we all picked Warriors in 6, at least the 2 of us. I think Schaefer might have picked them in 7, but we all had picked Golden State. We're sticking by that, but you've seen moments where both teams could easily win this thing.
No, without a doubt. Yeah. I mean, obviously we saw it in game 1, and hopefully as the series progresses here, we continue to get more good games and some more competitive basketball. And obviously the drama itself will be there because the NBA tends to provide that without question. But as long as we get good basketball too, that's all we can ask for.
Yep, sounds good. We appreciate you, brother. Thanks.
Hey, thanks so much for having me.
And yes, Michael Bohlin, CBS. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen in the series in terms of Game 3. I can bring up the stats. I was looking at the stats. Interestingly enough, I'll give you a stat real quick. Teams that win Game 1 in the NBA Finals are about 76% to win the series. But road teams to win Game 1 are only about 50%.
Still toss up.
And the reason why is because the team that wins Game 1, if you're at home, you're the better team because you're hosting Game 1 every time. So even if the road team steals one, you're still an awesome team because you have home court advantage, so you can overcome that. Now, an 0-2, if a team could ever get down 0-2, a home team, they've never won.
Wow.
Because it's never happened.
There
and it didn't happen last night either.
It didn't happen last night.
So it's 1-1. Game 3, though, the winner of Game 3 in a 1-1 series wins like 90% of the time. So that is a crucial game.
You know
tomorrow.
What? Even watching these first 2 games, man, I thought to myself, I didn't think Boston would lay down at all because it's Boston. It's too much history. They got players. They got, emerging superstars and everything else. By the way, Jaylen Brown might – no, he's a dog. Ain't no
he's a borderline all-star player for the last, 5 to whatever years. He's very good.
Definitely respect is there. But even though they lost last night, Boston, I still said to myself, no, this is a tight series. And I know 1-1 says all of that, but Boston's not just a pushover team the way they're playing right now. Like, I thought they had a shot to win it. Led some of the game in the first half. aggressive, just as aggressive as Draymond is to the rest of them. They got a lot of good stuff. I think Marcus Smart got a little bit off schedule of what he was trying to do as far as his role for Boston. They got a solid squad. If Grant can hit every once in a while, the role players do what they're supposed to do, White and everybody else, I want to see 7. I said 6. Golden State in 6, but if it goes 7, man, this is a heck of a series.
Yeah, I think that what I expected last night was they take a shot. If Golden State pulled out to a lead in the second half, that's what would
scale back.
what we would see is what we saw, because you already got the one in the pocket from game 1.
Yeah.
Now you just got to go try to defend home court. And I think Golden State's going to get one there too, at the very least. Let's go to Carl in the Borough before the break. Carl, what's up?
What's up, Carl?
Hey, morning. How you guys doing today?
Good.
Morning, Jay. Morning, Mom.
Morning.
Just 2 things. I'm a Warriors fan coming to basketball, and I'm going back to when Latrell Sprewell was there. He choked the coach. But looking at Draymond in the beginning, when they won the first championship, like he was everything. He was offense and he was defense. And it's like, I hate to say it, but it sounded like his game's receding, man. It's just like, I don't know. It's hard to watch it. It's getting cheap and becoming a dirty player. It's just one of those things that I didn't like watching. I'd rather have the younger Draymond that would get you a triple-double versus what we see now.
Yeah.
And I'll leave that there. And then 2, you guys got connections. And I just heard something from CBS Sports like yesterday. I read it. Something about Cole Beasley being the Titans are going to be like a landing spot for him. If that's true, so they're going to move Traylon to the outside instead of a slot. You're going to have Bobby Trees, and then the kid from UCLA. Like, how many receivers are they going to keep? Like, we need some other help other than that. I'll talk to you guys later. I'm listening to you guys out there.
Yeah, I think it was ESPN to put that kind of feeler out there.
Yeah, they were linking available free agents to teams and what were the best fit.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't think you can have enough receivers.
I don't either, unless you just have 3 or 4 studs. The only thing, this was really weird last year, and we kind of pushed back on this idea of who are the guys going to be, because there's so much talent at wide receivers. Like, don't get quantity and quality mixed up.
Well,
there were a lot of receivers last year.
They all got hurt.
Almost all of them got hurt, and how many of them were that good? Were as good as you made them sound like if you were super excited about them. Right.
You're missing 2 starters. Who else is missing from this team?
Marcus Johnson's
gone. Dang, I actually thought they was going to try to get him back. Who's in Detroit? You're missing 2 to Detroit right now.
Oh, Khalif Raymond's over there. And
Josh Reynolds is gone.
Batson's gone.
He's
in Atlanta. Ferkser is in Atlanta, if you want to add the tight end to the discussion.
Yeah. This replacement at this point.
I mean, NWI, you kept NWI, and he proved his worth to you last year. But there's some of these other guys, like, you can't ever have enough talented ones.
Right.
Beasley, I think the Beasley question is just, is that a personality fit for the team?
Personality fit, and also the role in which you're with it pay. I think his price is up now. Maybe it's down now considering it's late in the offseason and vets just want to get on teams.
And I think you want to put NWI in that role, so they're not looking for.
Yeah, it seems like I get why you would put that in there if you're ESPN. It doesn't seem like that's a move you need to make right now.
Yeah, from ESPN's point of view, totally understand that.
Yeah.
And who would you rather develop, Kyle Phillips, or you want the old
that's
vet?
Exactly right.
And then let's not forget,
you
too.
don't even have to answer that question.
You have a Cole Beasley on the team. You got Mason Kansas.
Chester Rogers, too. Isn't he gone?
Chester Rogers.
Is he gone or is he still there?
No, he's not on roster. He's not on roster.
So you had Rogers and Johnson and Batson and
all your depth's gone.
All of those guys.
Other than Dez. Dez is the only one.
Right now.
That's way depth.
Right now on the roster for Titans. Traylon Burks, Dez Fitzpatrick, Jawan Green, Cody Hollister, Mason Kinsey, Brandon Lewis, Josh Malone, Racy McMath, Kyle Phillips, Reggie Robinson Jr.,
I'm not going to lie.
NWI, and Robert Woods. You don't know who?
I don't know who Brandon Lewis is. I'm going to have to look that up. The rest of them, I know who they are. Brandon Lewis.
He's from Air Force.
Okay, I don't know who that is.
Rookie. He's a rookie.
Okay, well, that makes it a little bit easier.
Do you know
I feel better about that. Nope.
Don't know.
Nope. Could walk in here right now and be like, get out of the studio. This is for professionals.
The dude walked in the studio and be like, promotions department's downstairs.
Yeah.
5'9",
Go see Rich. He'll give you your name tag.
That's right. Give you your card.
We got Kayla Anderson to open the 4th hour of this show. And then I got an interesting college topic I want to hit you with.
Let's do it.
But we'll come back and go in the Heights.
Yes.
It's time.
I'm winning this week.
You won the most recent one.
You didn't win the week begins the week where we start tallying
the tallywhackers
for long weeks. So all this now we've got this game off the ground.
So it's full on tallywhack.
Now we just got to figure out what the stakes are. It have to be stakes
by the end of the week.
We'll figure it out.
All right,
we'll be back and we'll do it. It's Jay Martin Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. The hottest financing offer is back at Genesis Diamonds, but it's only through June 18th. So you've got to take advantage over this next couple of weeks. We're talking 5 years, zero interest financing, nothing down, practically everything in the showroom. Rings, bands, bracelets, pendants, designer jewelry, engagement rings. Buy now, nothing down. Spread those payments over 5 years with zero interest, only through June 18th. So a $3,000 eternity band, we're talking $50 a month. $6,000 designer ring, about $100 a month. Use it to upgrade the diamond stud earrings or get her a bigger diamond for that engagement ring. Interest rates are going up everywhere, it seems like, but not at Genesis for the next couple of weeks. This offer is more attractive than ever before. 5 years, 0% interest. You could even finance the sales tax. Fine jewelry has never been more affordable at Genesis Diamonds on approved credit, Green Hills and Cool Springs. little hootie on this Monday. It is time to go in the heights. Kayla Anderson will join us at the top of the hour. And then a piece from The Athletic that coaching agents sounding off on the state of college football. And it's talking about the salaries that coaches are making and what these agents are anonymous. Some of these quotes are amazing. So we'll talk about some of that after we chat with.
When you say amazing, do you mean ridiculous?
Yes.
Yeah.
And like instructive also. Like they're kind of side-eyeing a lot of this, and it's interesting. All right, time to go in the heights. Yeah. I have a tiebreaker at 11 if needed.
Yeah, we had 2 last week.
We did.
Rafael Nadal, who, of course, has only lost 3 matches ever at the French Open.
Unbelievable.
Won again.
Mm-hmm.
His height.
6'1".
5'10".
6 1/4.
I'm closer.
Yep.
That's right.
Oh.
Nas.
Nah, I got 5'9".
5'8".
He's exactly 5'8".
God. Solid, Shay. Real
Pure
solid.
guess. Pure guess.
Kunal Nayyar.
The dude on Big Bang Theory?
Raj from the Big Bang Theory, yes.
You first.
I'm going to go 5'7".
I go 5'10".
He is 5'7" and a quarter.
Yes, Joker here.
Yeah.
Solid save. Solid shave.
Liam Neeson.
I'm going 5'11".
Particular set of skills. I'm going to go 6 feet.
He's 6'4".
What?
Wow.
He's 6.
Wow.
Was not 3-1 is the count.
I will find you, and I will kill you.
I will kill you.
3-1. Come on.
Sam Neill.
Jurassic Park.
Alan Grant, Jurassic Park.
Okay.
New one comes out Friday.
Let's go 6 even.
So I was going to go with, so I'm going to go the other way. 5'11".
He's 5'11" and 3/4.
No, Ramon gets that one because he's 5'11",
He's
3/4.
close to 3/4.
Close
That's
to you.
kind of heinous.
Yeah. That's
If
all
I
right.
had just not put in that
That's
deal.
okay.
If it was half, then it'd be a tie.
That's
Okay,
right.
Shay.
That's
there
right.
we go.
That's right.
Willie Nelson.
Willie Nelson.
Always.
The
Standing
redheaded
next to
stranger.
Snoop. Yeah. Always next to Snoop. I'm giving him 5'11".
I'm going to go 5'8".
He is 5'5" and 7/8.
Yeah, I didn't think he was very
Willie
tall.
Nelson's 5'5".
Yeah, man, he's
Yeah.
short.
Didn't think he was very
And
tall.
he's probably shrunk over the years.
I was giving him more than that.
Well, his growth was stunted.
He's 5'5", 7/8", but he's high enough that he's 7 feet.
You get it. You get it.
Yeah. Wayne Newton.
Wayne Newton, short guy.
Donkey Shane.
5'6".
I'm going to go 5'8".
He's 6'1.5".
Yeah. Stop. Crushing it. Here, Will says short guy. By the way, if you're 5'6", you're not short guy. I'm just saying Hollywood is you.
No, if you're 5'6". If you're 5'6",
It's possible.
You're a bit of a short guy.
If you're 5'5" or below, you're basically shoeless in the Shire.
it's just funny because this show is abnormally tall.
We are.
Yeah, we
Because I'm
are.
the shortest one at 6'1".
Yeah. Jack Nicholson.
Jack Nicholson.
Not watching the Lakers right now because no one is.
That's 5'8".
Ooh, 5'9".
He's 5'9.5".
You dirty rat dog.
You have no chance to that, bro.
Yeah, 6'2" at this point.
The late, great Leslie Nielsen.
Ooh, let's go 6'1".
5'10".
6'1", dead on.
Hey now.
Hey. Don't have enough to rally, but
Be
that's
very careful with this one.
All right.
Chuck Norris.
Get kicked in the face for disrespecting his height. I'm still going 5'7".
I'm going to go 5'8".
Correct answer is 15.5.
Chuck Norris.
He's 5'8.5.
Hey.
You just going to rally today all
I'll
day.
give you the
huh, Shay?
tiebreaker, even though we certainly don't need it
7-3.
today. This is a
7-3.
beat down. BJ Novak.
BJ Novak, 6'2".
5'9".
He's 5'8".
God.
Shafe just.
Today's your day, huh?
To the east.
Shafe, 1-0 start the week off, man.
You know, that's all I got to say about this.
Chuck Norris is how tall again?
15
He's
and a half.
5'8.5". Yeah, I was about to say he is 31.2.
So that's pretty normal size.
31,
I mean, what the average height is what for an American male?
Ain't it
5'10"?
5'10" now?
Yeah, I think it's 5'10".
Yeah.
For an actor, it's like 5'8".
Right.
That's why I always go shorter because I'm like, they're super small, man. Little petite men.
Fit them in your pocket. Kayla Anderson of News 2 will join us after the headlines. What she's seen from OTAs. We'll chat about all those
She
things.
watched plenty of baseball over
And
the
she
weekend,
watched a lot of
too.
baseball, so
Yeah.
we can ask her about the histrionics.
We're height shaming people in the chat. Hightower says, screw you guys. I'm 5'6".
All I'm saying, Hightower, is if you take your shoes off, you could be a hobbit. It's J. Martin Ramon, 104.5 The Zone.
I'm the country now.
As leaders in disaster cleanup and restoration, the pros at ServPro are prepared for anything, like when the relief valve on your water heater fails, pouring gallons of water into your finished basement. ServPro is prepared for it. Or when you have an electrical shortage at your office that causes extensive smoke and water damage, ServPro is prepared for it also. Or a musty odor indicates you might have a mold problem. ServPro is prepared for it. You need a lot more than help sometimes cleaning up, and that's why ServPro is your one-stop shop when disaster strikes. Not only do they have the equipment and expertise to clean up damage from fire, water, or mold, but they also offer a variety of construction services, ranging from drywall patching and document drying all the way to complete structure rebuilds. There's just one call you need to make to bring your home or business back to as good as new and as soon as possible. So if you're in need of cleanup from fire, water, or any unpleasant events, ServPro is always ready to help. Call ServPro and the official downtown Nashville operators at 800-ServPro to see how we can help you get back to like it never even happened. The number is 800-SERVPRO. That's ServPro. Cleaning, restoration, construction. And franchises are independently owned and operated.
9:01, good morning. I'm Jonathan Shea for the BASEVols. The Tennessee Volunteers advance to the NCAA Super Regionals with a 9-6 win over Georgia Tech at Lindsey Nelson Stadium yesterday. The Vols scored 6 runs in the top of the 9th inning, then held off Georgia Tech's rally in the bottom of the inning to advance to the Super Regionals for the second consecutive season. Tennessee will host Notre Dame in the next round. Hey, Junior, we're looking at you, pal. Meanwhile, the VandyBoys defeated Oregon State 8-1 last night, winning the 2 games they had to yesterday. That's forcing a winner-take-all game against the Beavers today in Corvallis at 3 o'clock. NBA Finals Game 2, Golden State 107, Boston 88. The Warriors outscored the Celtics 35-14 in the third quarter. Series tied at 1 game apiece. Tampa Bay scored with 42 seconds remaining in regulation. Lightning defeated the Rangers 3-2. Rangers still lead that series 2-1. And in soccer, U.S. men's national team, a 0-0, or for other folk, 0-0 draw against Uruguay in a World Cup tune-up. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
What's happening? 4th hour, hashtag fastest 4 hours in radio is upon you, upon us. Blessed to bring it to you courtesy of all 4 seasons garage doors in Nashville. Warriors not up the series. Vanderbilt's playing today. They got to beat Oregon State a second straight time to advance, but you don't want to put anything past a Corbin team.
No.
Especially not with bats that seem to be as live as they are. They are all up in the belfry.
Mm-hmm. The back's against the wall, too.
I was just going to stare at Schaefer until he looked at me and gave me credit for that line. He would
Bats in
make
the
eye
Belfry.
contact.
I heard it.
I'm not sure it was good at all.
I no-sold it, but I heard it.
National Donut Day was Friday.
Oh, and Kayla had a food disaster on Saturday.
Yeah, well, let's bring
Yeah,
Kayla Anderson,
yeah.
News 2,
Daddy.
is on the line. All right, Kayla, tell us about Saturday's food disaster.
I knew Shake was going to bring this up, folks. I knew it. So let's just call me, I'm a little bit of a klutz in real life. I will admit that. But for some reason, the past 2 Saturdays, when I'm in the office at News 2 putting together my Saturday night shows, I have about 20 minutes to spare to run to the canteen and heat one of my meals that I do. I do like the clean eat thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll heat up a meal, I'll have it ready to go, and I can eat while I'm working. Well, the Saturday before this one, I blew up my burrito in the microwave. I guess I overheated. It was hard as a rock, so I had to throw that away. And then this Saturday, I'm all excited about this loaded baked potato. I go, I put it in. It's perfect. It's heated just right. I take it out, and it completely falls out of my hand and splatters over the entire kitchen.
No.
So I had it on my shoes, on my legs. It was all over the floor. And I'm just trying to clean it up before someone comes in and sees what a disaster I've made. On top of it, I had to resort to a box of cookies for my dinner.
Not only did you mess up dinner, but you got off track as far as your meal prep. Kayla, we got to do better. It's 2 weekends in a row. Like, what are you doing before you walk into work?
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I'm so inundated in my work and, editing clips and putting together the millions of baseball and NBA highlights we've had over the past couple of weeks. And I think, when I get into the canteen, I let my mind kind of settle for a minute, and that's not a good thing for me because clearly everything gets loose, and then I get clumsy again.
So you said you're putting a lot of highlights together about baseball. You watched a lot of baseball. The old head is the Vandy Whistler. The young buck is Tennessee's histrionics and all the things that they're doing on the field. Of the two, which do opposing fan bases have more reason to dislike?
I'd say right now the Tennessee Vols. And I say that because, I'm sorry, it's real hard to be the number 1 team in the nation for as long as they've been this season. The way that they are winning games, even when it looks like their backs are up against the wall, like last night, and they come back, and if with one swing of the bat, they can completely change the outcome of a game. The way that they have the swag. Listen, college baseball's fun. There's a lot of really quirky little things that these teams do, and you don't really find out about those things until the postseason, but we've known about Tennessee's antics all season long. They've got the daddy hat. They've got the fur coat. Tony Vitello is just one of those guys who doesn't give a crap about how he carries himself. He's a good coach, but he's going to do what he's going to do. And I think that teams probably are frustrated right now because they just can't beat Tennessee. So I think opposing fan bases right now, definitely with just what Tennessee is doing, probably is getting a little annoyed with the Big Orange. But for Vandy, that Whistler, no matter what happens or how bad they might be in terms of a season, which doesn't happen often, if the Whistler's involved, man, teams do not like Vanderbilt baseball in terms of the Whistler, I should say.
Is it fair to have both, though, Kayla? Have them be able to do those antics and still be good as far as baseball gets a bad rep. Everybody, the boring word gets thrown around a lot when it comes to baseball, and make it exciting. And then you have this team doing this, and you have the pushback. So is it okay to be both?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. I mean, I'm a baseball girl through and through. I've grown up with it. I've covered every stage of baseball in my career. And I actually love the game because the game gives you time to actually think about what's going on, to break down things if you're a sports head like I am. And there are so many good stories in baseball that aren't usually told. And what I appreciate about the Vols this season is they've really kind of come out and put themselves out there and shown their personalities. And that's what I want to see more of, not only in the college game, but in Major League Baseball as well, because there are so many good stories. There are so many good personalities. They just don't get marketed enough. I give Tennessee a lot of props for really getting out there and marketing themselves as a baseball program. Yeah, it helps that you're winning, but I kind of like having the things that people don't like about you because it brings attention to your program no matter what.
Yeah, and just in general, though, this matchup between Notre Dame and the Vols coming up at the Super Regional, do you see this being more competition for the Vols, considering the program they're about to play? If they don't make it out of Super Regionals, what's next for this crew? And, it's the overall expectation.
I think right now Tennessee has proven time and time again, whether it be in SEC play or, even when they had a little bit of, learning to do early on in the season with some non-conference games. The one thing that I like about Tennessee is they just continue to be so consistent. And I kind of liked what Tony Vitello said after, I can't remember which game. I think it was the game against Campbell on Saturday night. He said, I don't really know what my team is feeling like going into a game. And he goes, I think that might be a good thing because they're always just so locked in, even if they feel like they're really high going into a game or I feel like the energy's low. Once the game starts, I just feel like they're always locked in and ready to go. And I think that's such a great thing about a team because baseball is really a mind game too. And if you get in a slump or if the bats aren't going, like you can go as that goes. And I just don't think the Tennessee Volunteers have shown to be that type of baseball team. They've just been so consistent. And so I think really the biggest challenge with this past regional that they had was going up against teams that had bats like theirs. And the Vols can clearly hit the ball, but they also had teams in there that could hit the ball. I mean, you saw what Campbell could do. You saw last night that Georgia Tech could definitely hang with them. And so I was more worried about those teams that really can hit the ball because when you think about it, those are the teams that can play with them all the way to the ninth inning or beyond. Now you go up against a team maybe not known as much for that. I think Tennessee just needs to continue to play its game. The pitching wasn't as great over the past couple of days as it has been, but I think that they will adjust to that. I just don't see a way that they're going to get beaten this Super Regional, you guys. I think it's their season to win this College World Series title, And, yeah, there can be upsets in Omaha. You got to get there first. But at this point, I don't see it happening just because they've had their backs against the wall. They've proven that they can come back and still win.
News 2's Kayla Anderson with us. Kayla, yeah, to that point, the thing, even watching Georgia Tech and watching Campbell, I was waiting for Tennessee to do what Tennessee did in both those games because their lineup is like a conveyor belt of death. And it just keeps going. It's like an assembly line, like over and over. Everybody that stepped up is just, oh, this guy again? Like watching that from the opposing dugout just has to be flat out demoralizing because everybody on the roster that holds a baseball bat can hurt you.
Oh, 100%. I've covered so much college baseball in my career, all over the country, some really good programs as well. And I have never seen a team with a lineup like this. It is absolutely incredible that every time a batter comes up to the box and you're hearing the commentators talk about them breaking a record. This freshman just broke this home run record. It's incredible that how many things that they are doing this season as individuals, let alone the team. And you're right. Any batter that comes up, you can expect them to just hit it out of the park. And like I said, that can change a game in 1 second. And that's why I give Georgia Tech so much credit yesterday for really being there for most of the game. But then again, that's what makes this team so incredibly special. They're in a really tight position. They could have just bowed down and went out. That is not how this team does it. They never panic. And that's such a good thing when you have those guys in the lineup one after the other. It's just deadly.
One more before we let you go. The most impressive thing I have seen at Titans OTAs is blank.
Robert Woods, 100%. Man, I am so impressed with what I've seen from him over the past couple of weeks. And we haven't obviously been at OTAs every day. We get about 1 day to do it. But I'm not talking about just what I've seen on the field. I'm talking about what Robert Woods brings to this locker room. Losing a guy like A.J. Brown, that's a big deal. But gaining a guy like Robert Woods and the knowledge and the veteran presence that he has, and just I think what he can teach these other wide receivers is so valuable. But what I've seen on the field with that brace on his knee, I mean, he had ACL surgery. He hurt that back in October. He's just out there doing what he's doing, rehabbing on the side. It looks like he is going to be on the fast track to being ready for the season. I expect big things out of him. I honestly do, because he holds himself accountable for everything, and he wants to be the best player he can be even at 30 years old. And I think that he's going to be a huge addition to this roster this year. I've just really been impressed with him.
We are not impressed with the fact that we didn't get donuts from you on National Donut Day on Friday. We are chapped about that.
I didn't even get them for myself, you guys, because I didn't even know it was National Donut Day till halfway through the freaking day. What is up with that?
Wait a second. That means you still had half the day to remedy that problem, and you still chose not to.
All right. First of all, who's ever brought you champagne and donuts to your studio?
Fair point.
Nobody else but this girl right here.
You set us up for it, and then you just drop us off like it's the first day of school, Kayla. Don't do that.
Look, that's too obvious. I'm not buying donuts on National Donut Day. It's got to be one of those things where it's a spur-of-the-moment thing for me. That is how I operate.
Okay.
Well, there's a donut. Whoa. There's a donut. Oh. There's a donut flavored Celsius now.
Huh?
No, you're kidding me.
Yeah, I am. I was just trying to disappoint you the way you disappointed us on Friday.
I cannot believe you, J. Mark. I cannot believe you. One more thing. I heard your little conversation about Hollywood stars and hype. I can say firsthand, I lived in Hollywood for a summer during college when I was interning for Good Morning America. I worked out at the best gym in Hollywood called Equinox. So I'd be pumping iron, and I'd turn around, and every single celebrity I saw was about 5'5", including Robert Downey Jr., that was the best thing, working out, and I turn around, there's Robert Downey Jr. doing leg lifts. This is the life. Yeah, they're all short, though, I'll tell you that firsthand.
Kayla, how's bragging camp going this morning?
Hey, I'm feeling good, guys. I got my coffee. I'm ready to go. I thought I'd put a little bragging in there. Why not, right?
Yeah. Thank you, Kayla. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. I was waiting for it. How many name drops we getting here? Oh, only Downey Jr.
In Hollywood for a while.
Only Reels in summer with Good Morning America.
A little flex going on. Oh, she's probably still hearing this now. We're gonna get a text in a minute. You guys are punks.
Yeah, people are asking, and we need to do it. We need to get our guy at Tomahawk Designs to create a bragging camp T-shirt.
We do, man.
In the old salute your shorts format. It looks like Camp on Awana. It's just Camp Boast.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
We're gonna come back. I'm gonna go into this piece in athletics with coaching agents that are sounding off about everything that's happening in college football.
Yeah.
Some fun stuff coming. Jay Martin and Mo, 104.5 The Zone. I want to talk to you about PAI Medical and the help that they're giving to thousands of men and women when it comes to their hair loss. Michael Ramsey and his staff, real experts of what they do. Surgical procedures, they've got those, but if you need non-surgical solutions, they have those as well. And they're making a tremendous difference for all their hair loss patients. And hair loss is just something that can affect your confidence. You're walking down the street, it's something that you wear a hat when you don't want to, or you look in the mirror and you just don't feel that same level of confidence. It's just a little extra stress in a stressful life. What if you could take that away with a gradual process with experts that know what they're doing, reintroducing your own hair, your own blood, just to gradually grow it back, to thicken just a little bit here with a laser treatment, all those kinds of things. Those are options that are out there. The technology has come a long, long way. This is a real procedure. And when it comes to cost, affordable payment plans that fit anyone's budget. They've been in Nashville for over 25 years. All they do is hair. They're the absolute best at it. 615-376-6010 is the telephone number. 376-6010. Talk to them and let them show you what they can do for you. You'll be blown away. WeGrowHair.com. That's WeGrowHair.com.
Pitch driven in the air into center field. Ranging back. And it's over the center fielder's head. Over the center fielder's head. Booker will race around third. He'll score. No throw offered. It'll be a double, an RBI double for Jordan Beck. Tennessee has tied the game. Look at this, the go-ahead run at third. Jordan Beck comes through big time for the Big Orange. His second run batted in on the night. His 56th on the season. Tennessee has caught the Yellow Jackets at 4. And the Big Orange plays for the lead.
Sean Wilkerson, Jordan Beck then gave the one-finger salute after that one. I think that was the hit. Jordan Beck and Drew Gilbert both mentioned in first-round talks.
You'll probably say I got orange-tinted glasses on when I say this, but the fact that he went towards center field with that salute, I'm trying to think, like, was there an exchange between him and the other guy beforehand?
Doesn't
and was
matter.
it justified?
Doesn't matter.
It's not justified
It doesn't
to throw,
matter?
to throw that
To throw the
in
salute?
any context.
You ain't
Doesn't
think so?
matter. Nope. Nope.
Mm.
Orange-tilted glasses.
When you win, though.
When you win, you're throwing the middle finger.
No,
That's not.
but
not
if you,
good.
but y'all know how I am. You get me, I'm gonna get you back. That's my mentality when it comes down to
Get him back better. You got
I
him
don't.
back. You
When
beat
would
him.
the exchange have happened?
I don't know, but I know they were chatting a lot. If you look, I always look at the catcher, the batter, and the dugouts. If you can catch those camera-like glimpses, you can see them. I saw a few times both sides were looking at each other's dugouts like, okay, well, watch this.
Well, if
You
you,
know
look
what I'm
at it, some
saying?
people were like, he was throwing it to the fence because it's kept some of his home runs in. It's like, oh my gosh.
See, that's orange-tinted glasses right there.
There's a
I'm
lot
talking
of-
about the spirit of competition when it comes down to.
I mean,
I got you.
look, Moan, it's all orange tinted glasses. If you look at all that and you're like, oh, it's totally fine. Because if you were another school,
What my glasses at?
and it was them doing it to you, you would hate it.
Put the
It's fine.
Put the hat
Gotta
on.
put the
It's
Bill
fine.
Dance hat on.
Put the Bill Dance hat on.
There we go.
You should just take that with you today when you go to the golf tournament.
Yeah, I might need an umbrella today.
Yeah, you might.
I'm gonna need one. Well, officially got on the Bill Dance Tennessee hat, y'all. We're good to go.
Yeah, you're good to go.
What's up, Brett B? Mama.
Coaching agents sound off on Brian Kelly, Lincoln Riley, 10-year deals, Auburn, and more at the Athletic. Nicole Auerbach, Chris Vanini had put this together as part of their long series, but these are anonymous agents talking.
This is
And there's
agents
some,
talking
There's
college.
some stuff here as well.
The fact that we got agents coming to talk about college football, all that means for them is the possibility of more money for coaches, more money for. Are they representing players? Is that what we're getting to when we get to agents talking about it, Jay? Like, this is going to be very interesting. I hadn't seen this article and what you're about to bring up, but
Well,
this
Rhett
is,
just came in and just dropped something to me. It's
I
not
know
big
I was
news.
trying to keep us close.
Broncos have been bought. Rob Walton, $4.5 billion. That's going to be the bid according to Forbes this
I
morning.
thought it was his wife that was going to buy it, or one of the sisters.
So there you go.
It's a family business regardless, though. The Waltons.
They have $59.1 billion. So
Be interesting to see how many
that's who owns my team.
How many Arkansas players go there now?
But back to where I was at. Listen, like some of these agents firing off. Agent 1. Who other than Penn State would give James Franklin a 10-year deal? So what if he leaves? You'll get another one. You're Penn State. You can get another good coach. When it comes to Mel Tucker, if you want to give him that deal after he beats Ohio State, then I get that. You get it on a Saturday morning and then you get smoked, not even competitive. I think most athletic directors have no guts. If you're Michigan's guy and Harbaugh's flirting with the Vikings job, go take the job. I'm not redoing your deal. I'm going to get somebody who wants to be here. I'm not saying that's what they should have done, but if more guys took that approach, coaches would realize, oh, bleep, Michigan's a really good job.
Mm-hmm. It bleeds into that conversation we always said. We always talk about these players in this NIL now.
Yeah.
This is basically attacking the coaches, right? Or the process of how these coaches are paid and attained more than anything.
Agent
Or
2.
retained.
Mel's got a great situation. That's Mel Tucker at Michigan State. I can go 8-4 every 3 years and not worry about getting fired. That's the greatest bleeping job in the world. It's becoming irresponsible. I get that people say agents are the reason for this, but the fact administrators would do this shows how foolish they are. They're spending TV money they don't even have.
Is this winning at a non-football organization? Like this cut at Duke? Or James Franklin at Vandy? If James Franklin was at Vandy right now, how much would his bag be there as opposed to what Clark Lee's like?
Agent 3.
They would never pay him to the point
No,
to
they
where
wouldn't.
he would stay.
Okay.
They
Vandy wouldn't.
Right.
Okay.
Agent 3 for both Mel and James, because the question was about Mel and James. They're not singling them out. This particular question was. I'll get to some other stuff. It says, for both Mel and James, they got a great deal, but did the market dictate those contracts should have been given? I don't know. Were there enough schools going after Mel Tucker and James Franklin that this was the value over replacement? A lot of people in East Lansing were happy, but a lot of people also said, well, did Mel do enough yet to deserve that type of contract? Same thing in State College. The reality is how many 10-year contracts were signed this offseason, how many coaches will actually make it through without getting fired. Yeah. It never works out. As an agent, I can tell you that the market is very quickly overpaying for what it can get in terms of value over replacement for a good coach.
It's all about who's hot too, Jay. Think about Scott Frost in Nebraska. Like, did you think he was ready to jump up to Nebraska, although it was his school, alumni, and everything else? He's in the same conversation if we're having this one.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely right. Agent 4, this just overall, a lot of times these jobs are predetermined. Searches are a farce. There are many times the gears are in motion months before the current coach gets fired. There's a little bit of ethics that need to be brought back into the fold.
You see my face? It's a little bit of the ethics that needs to be brought into the fold. Like, come on now, let's be serious here. You're in that business. It sounds to me that agent is a guy that his client went and interviewed for a job and didn't get taken seriously. Like, ethics in college sports, I think we can pretty much end that conversation.
Yeah, but again, though, you're pointing to paying players and all this other kind of stuff. It's like, well, the coaching ethics are just as bad, if not worse. And the administrators that are making the decisions behind the scenes and the billionaires and all that kind of stuff. Like, there's a let's start there.
Didn't you read off last week about a coach said, no, who was it? Was it Missouri's coach Drinkwitz? They said, "What do you want to do? You're trying to go to a football you're trying to go to a school that doesn't have a football program because of the portal." Like, that's where it's going to get to. The fact that Drinkwitz, I think that was him that made that comment about, well, I can send you to a group of 5 school, or I can send you to a NAIA school if you want to get in the portal. Like, that's where we're about to head into. Although I will say with the transfer portal and the NIL stuff.
No, I agree with that. This one, they asked specifically about Brian Harsin. The agent's on Brian Harsin. Agent 3, listen to this. Everybody wants something. Everybody thinks they're in charge. I feel bad for Auburn's AD, Alan Green. He has a miserable job. Working at a Power 5 institution as an AD now is 99% donor management. He's babysitting a bunch of billionaire crybabies. Each one wants their hand in the cookie jar. You cannot build a long-term sustainable program unless you invest. He's a good coach. He's done okay. You got to give him some time. It's because they saw LSU go hire Brian Kelly, and all of a sudden they think they can get somebody better.
This is who was it? Lane Kiffin, Philip Fulmer.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, do you think Brian Kelly can come to the SEC and win? He's won well in Notre Dame. He's also supposedly have better recruits because he's in Louisiana in the SEC.
Yeah.
But the competition goes up also.
Yes.
I'll continue to say this. The forcing out of Coach Fulmer, whether it be you thought he was past his time.
It's like him and Bowden, and you started to see like sort of.
Yeah, you kind of saw that
even
little bit.
Even Paterno and stuff like before. I'm talking before that stuff happened and all.
But I'd almost say it was because of Nick. It was because of
a lot of coaches lost jobs because of Nick Saban.
And Urban too.
Urban
came in quickly and got 2 national championships. Like, to that point about the boosters, Jay, they wanted a change. They needed to see who was going to be that guy. And lo and behold, what do we get?
This one's interesting. Remember we talked about never chase money, chase management.
Yeah.
That's what Colin Cowherd said. I think it's a really good point, a way to live life. Agent 4 says it's an absolute mess at Auburn. As an institution, they got long-term problems. They've been around for a long time. It's not changing anytime soon. I totally believe that coach is gone. I totally believe the AD is going to be gone. I feel bad for the people involved. It's not Brian's fault, but it was a mistake. It's taking money and not looking at this job as a fit for me. Brian is much better suited in the West. Now, this is interesting. This is the part of the process where people in my position need to step up and not just chase money as agents. Don't send your client into a place that's going to become a disaster. They need someone up top like a president who's going to tighten that ship. And another agent followed up and said, look at your client and see where they're going to be comfortable and happy, not just where they're going to get paid the most.
Yeah.
Because that quality of life sometimes gets overrated or gets underrated in favor of a larger paycheck. And sometimes it's the agent wants a bigger cut, So they're just going to put you up with interviews where it doesn't make any sense. Here's what he said. This one's really good. A lot of these ADs try to build security for guys that don't deserve it and haven't proven anything. They're so quick to make that next big splash hire. They don't know who's good or bad. These programs, they can come up with a lot of bleep. Not that you're afraid to compete, but do you want to deal with some Auburn booster you'd rather punch in the face? I don't. Most of my clients probably don't. You have to be cautious about situations and do your homework. Where agents bleep up is they don't provide any value to their coaches and they just want the money. Hey, just take this job. No, do your homework on it. Do your homework on what kind of place it's going to be. You want your client to be happy.
Yeah. I can almost agree with that with Harsin a little bit. And not dragging anything over Auburn either, but to say he's much better fitted to be a West Coast coach, I think there's some truth in that, Jay. Also, the fact that these agents say, hey, go get it because it's a bag regardless. You got to think what some of those agents haven't said, at least you hadn't got to it yet, is no matter what, though, they're going to cash out. The buyout is always going to be there. So the idea of doing more research, yeah, that comes to guys that really want to coach. But you got to look at a lot of these coaches, man, from my understanding of it. I got guys now that I played ball with that, were out of the game before me, and they're still like in assistant to the assistant coach positions. It's going to every coaching convention that you can get to try to meet that guy that's going to give you a shot. And that shot might end up being Missouri State somewhere, Missouri Valley State somewhere. It might be in the middle of Michigan where it's a small school and you got to travel. You know what I'm saying? To a bunch of different colleges. I mean, you got to travel to go to game day. You're eating cold cut sandwiches instead of coming from, Georgia where you're getting lobster and steak the night before games. So to say that these coaches aren't supposed to take the cash and do their research, I think it's a little, like you're giving too much credit to it. You eat a lot of crap to be a coach. You spend a lot of time away from your family. You spend a lot of time away from your kids, and you got to invest a lot to actually have a name. So when given that opportunity to go to a Power 5 school or a Group of 5 school for that matter, Jay, where I was making $70,000, and now I'm going to make 1.5. You're going to take it. And for that matter, let's go Brian Harsin. What was he making? Maybe $2-3 million at Boise? And now he's up to like over 6, if not more.
Well, see, I think the argument there is, though, he had turned down Pac-12. He had turned down some other jobs that were going to pay him similar money to go to a place where he wasn't familiar and where the expectations were higher than, you were stepping out of Boise into the SEC.
But you'd also say Harsin's going to get another shot, even if he wants to go to Pac-12. You know what I'm saying?
He might.
The money in itself for these guys that spend 2 decades sometime trying to get into that paycheck, that's got to be hard to not
It is,
take
but
it.
I think the agent has a duty to say, hey, there's more money here, so I get it. But from a fit standpoint, we would look at this. The agent this is famous, and you can read this in the Late Shift, the agent for David Letterman, when it was coming down to him and Leno after Johnny Carson left. Basically, Letterman's whole life was to become Johnny Carson. He wanted to replace him on the Tonight Show. It's why he got into the industry. It's all he wanted, and they wanted Jay because Jay was the dude that had become the fill-in host. He had kind of gotten set at 12:30 instead of 11:30. Was his act going to play an hour earlier? His content was different. Well, Jay started floundering in his first year. His interviewing sucked. There were a lot of problems, and people at the network started to back Letterman a little bit. So they were going to come to Letterman with an offer.
Yeah.
And his agent said, look, I know you wanted this show, and I understand this, and I understand this. He goes, our recommendation is still to leave the network entirely and go to CBS, where they've never succeeded in late night, at least not in this generation.
Yeah.
But go there because here's the situation that you're walking into. And Letterman, against his heart, left.
Yeah.
And went to CBS. I think both things are true. I think it's all right if you want to chase the money, but the agent has a responsibility not to just throw the money out, but to also say, well, here's the situation. Here's the better fit. Here's the better paycheck. Now let's balance it. What do you want to do? What's right for you and your family?
You know what's kind of telling of this too? I wonder when they're referencing these guys and where these coaches are committing their time and their skill to as far as coaching, who's the agent that's actually pushing the narrative of go get the bag? Are they going at Jimmy Sexton? Like, let's be real about it. As far as saying anytime there's a coaching change, James Franklin's name's been brought up a couple times. Who did he end up going again? If I'm not mistaken, I think he ended up signing with Sexton. You know what I'm saying? Like, is that the side of it too? Is this guy's got too big of a coaching pool? as far as his clients go, and they get whatever job that's paying the highest, and it's not great for them, but they're always going to get the buyout at the end of it. Like, I don't like the way the coaches do business simply because they're knocking these kids in this current era that we're in now.
Yeah.
But these agents are saying exactly what we're getting at.
Yeah.
They're getting the bag regardless.
Yes.
And nobody's batting an eye. And they're calling the organization, these agents are calling the organizations idiots. You know what I mean? And they are a little bit. Like, you'll get a guy that just had a contract. Like, it was people this past year saying Hyper deserves a little bit more. I'm like, simmer down. I like him. But you still got to prove it. You know, because it's going to be year after year and payout after payout for new coach after new coach.
And they just going to take the money because if you're going to be a sucker.
It's a new one born on every
That's
university.
right. I got more of these quotes. We'll get to them after the break. There's some more really interesting stuff to the point Moan just made. It's J Mart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Jordan Beck told reporters after the game, I was super excited. I had a little bit of a blackout moment. Just happy I hit a flush barrel. Didn't know if it was getting over the guy's head or not. Okay, bud. Got excited, flipped off. Cool. People, Golf Digest is saying, is he going to be suspended for the Super Regional? That would be.
Golf Digest.
That'd be quite a story. The guy's writing for Golf Digest about that. It must have already have. Maybe this is aggregated from somewhere else.
Ain't no problem.
It's weird. I would be surprised if he's suspended. I'll say that.
Yeah, me too.
All right. A couple more things here from this athletic piece where they were talking to 5 sports agents about coaching and just that side of the business. People perceive this loyalty to schools. Why would guys be loyal to you? ADs aren't loyal. ADs don't even call each other up anymore as a courtesy that they're going to poach your guy. I've heard that a lot. These administrators go meet each other once every 3 months. All the common courtesy is lost. They all get together in Las Vegas at the National Football Foundation, and 2 weeks later, they're stealing each other's clients. There's no loyalty. For anyone to talk loyalty about Mario to Oregon or anything like that, there's no such thing. The only thing people care about is cash. That's it. Tradition and other stuff is bull bleep.
I mean, look at Sankey. Sankey's letting the world know we're better than the rest of y'all, and we're going to do this on our own if we have to. He's then at the right conference, Jay.
Yeah,
he's at the right conference. I'm sure there are some people. If the Pac-12, if they're still together right now, Big 12, Big 10, if they really just decided to get together and try to take down the SEC, I'm actually kind of shocked there haven't been that type of conversation, us versus y'all type of situation. But they still lose because the talent finds its way to the SEC.
Some talking about like these 10-year deals. Some schools have to realize who they are. I don't know if they're trying to curry favor with alumni. There are some ADs that just like to say they're the one who made the hire.
Yeah.
And they're willing to overpay to do it.
Well, we've always seen this trend too. When a new AD comes in, the moment a coach that they didn't hire have a bad year, they're usually going to get their own guy in. They want the credit. You said it was a second ago. Somebody was saying we got the best AD in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be real here.
There's some people that were talking about. You're seeing this a little bit. And we saw it in our chat this morning. People are like, look at Danny White. Look at what Danny White's done with the SEC, with 3 SEC tournament, championships or whatever for Rick Barnes and all this other kind of stuff. It's like, first off, he didn't hire Rick Barnes. He didn't hire Tony Vitello. He made sure he stayed, but he wasn't responsible for finding and grooming and putting Tony Vitello into the spot. He's got credit for Heupel. That's really what he's got credit for right now. And that's working out, but that's not who anybody wanted when he was hired.
I'll give Danny White this. Danny White has found a way to keep this university engaged, too. I got it. Like, going up there is a little bit different now. The open door policy they have with players and just fans in general, it's kind of – he's made it funny. That's what he said he was going to do there. And also winning does help, too, Jay.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Agent 4 talking about long deals and buyouts. It's a fool's errand because things change. Nothing stays the same. A decade is an eternity in sports. Yes, buyouts are different, but with a longer team, the guaranteed money is much larger. Why would you ever put that type of liability on your institution? It's not economically sound in terms of doing business. The demand for a return on that investment is enormous. What are the billionaires going to do when Brian Kelly doesn't win a national championship? Or when Mel Tucker doesn't sniff being in a national championship game? How long will they be happy with 8 wins?
You know what? I think those long-term deals are for short-term goals. Meaning with college coaches, just to push back, play devil's advocate on this, Jay, how am I supposed to commit to a university if he's only got 2 years left on this deal? You feel me? Like, the college one is kind of finicky with the deals. Like, maybe not a 10, but if you only got 3 years left on your deal – and I'm just a high school junior, how you going to get me to commit? So it's like a double-edged sword.
But I think that's changing, though, because of NIL and the transfer portal. Because we talk about, the coaches need these longer deals for the kids to commit to the school. Well, now the kids can basically tell the coaches, hey, if I'm not getting what I want, I'm out, too.
But initially, the commitment aspect of it is you think you're going to stay at that school.
I wonder how much that is changing amongst the kids coming
out
now.
So to that point, Agent 3, it seems like ADs, or more specifically donors who are actually paying for these coaches, are looking at it and saying there are literally only a handful of really successful, competent coaches, and if you don't have one of them, you have no chance. My personal opinion is that's wrong because there's so much else that goes into having a successful football program now, especially now with NIL. There are a lot of really good young coaches who don't need 10-year, $10 million contracts to come to an institution, but can be competitive if surrounded with a good staff, good infrastructure, good resources, and good administrative leadership. That defines Josh Heupel.
Yep.
I think what's going to be interesting is when a program actually figures that out. I would rather go and pay my coach $4 million a year and put the rest of that toward NIL or something to enhance the whole package.
Is that what? Can we be honest? Since a couple of his assistants are gone, coordinators, is that Dabo?
It could be.
You know what I'm saying?
He's going to be paid more than $4 a year.
Well, he's paid more because he got the natty under his belt. But his assistants are now head coaches. So what is Dabo at this point? To you know what I'm saying, to that conversation, Jay. And I'm not knocking Dabo because Dabo had it all together until recently.
Yeah. I mean, it's still going to be very, very difficult. We may have seen Clemson peak because there's so much that's changed at this point, and they don't have the quarterback that maybe that you might have thought they had.
Yeah,
because it just hadn't worked. It just hadn't worked out.
Yeah,
down there. But yeah, there's a lot of money and there's a lot of pressure, and that's the other thing. Is just the idea that the demand for return on that investment is enormous is dead true. Like when these billionaires are putting in all this money, they're wanting something out of that.
I want to see it again. The rate in which Urban won so fast had to have everybody having that conversation. Like, which one is ours? Who are we going to go get? You know what I'm saying? Like, it changed, but that's not a realistic model, though, Jay. It takes time to build up recruits, cultivate a staff, know who works, who doesn't work. That's false to me. That's the reason the powers that be are going to stay there for a while because of that.
Here's the problem. The donors and the fans don't care. While you are right, those are perceived as excuses.
You think if you're that invested in a university, a sport, all of those things combined together, that you would know it takes you can't put a freshman out there to just go be a number one stud. You know, like growing an OL together, finding the right defensive line, honestly, finding the right assistant coaches. I know it's not reality, Shafe, but it's just like that ain't real life when it comes down to sports, and especially football.
Fandom's not real sports.
Agent 5, to finish this off, there's truly no one job that's just better than every other. Some of these schools think they're the end destination, or a fan base feels like it's the best place in the world for a multitude of reasons. But coaches showed this cycle they're willing to leave the upper echelon of college football for other jobs. That being Brian Kelly,
Lane
just
Kiffin.
as one and certainly Lincoln Riley.
Yeah.
As well. So enjoy it while you got it and smoke them if you got them. Vanderbilt plays later today. We'll find out if they're still alive. Tennessee is. Buck Rising's alive. He's next. For Ramon Foster and Jonathan Schaefer, I'm Jason Martin. See you tomorrow. Slay will join us.
And remember, your Twitter fingers and your mic is always hot.